look at all of the rain. I want to show you this. This is our reflectivity. So when you see these gradients of orange, reds, yellows, green on your map, this is showing where the intensity of rain is. So the deeper the reds, the brighter that purple. That's very intense rainfall than those lighter bands of rain from yellow to green there. Now, we do have Storm Team meteorologist on Interstate 22 in Walker County. Michael, what are you seeing right now?
Well, that's right, Ashley. The rain really picking up here. That's good news. We've had rain on and off for the last hour and a half or so. That's helping to stabilize the atmosphere just a bit compared to a day without rainfall. But now we're beginning to get lightning increasing. We're about 23 miles to the northeast of that center of rotation. That center of rotation coming out, again, that eastern part of Fayette County into Walker County. Still seeing a good amount of folks on the road. We don't want that. We want everybody inside in their safe place right now. Their tornado safe place. It's getting dark, and this is a situation, certainly, you can look at the radar, you will not be able to see any type of circulation. It would be completely rain wrapped, so don't even try to do that. And on top of all that, it's getting very dark. Something else I've noticed throughout the day, Ashley, after leaving the station earlier, is we've just been sucked in with clouds, so that's more good news. So we have a couple of things working for us, a couple of parameters working for us to stabilize the atmosphere. But that said, we still have just enough instability and certainly plenty of wind shear for any of these thunderstorms that will move through for the rest of this evening to circulate and produce a few brief spin-up tornadoes. As of right now, this doesn't look like a setup for these large, long-track tornadoes, but as you know, it only takes one to cause major damage for an individual home, and of course, it could be loss of life, even just with one brief spin-up tornadoes. So please take this seriously, and we'll keep you posted right here from the Weather Alert Unit. In the meantime, I'm meteorologist Michael Haynes. Local coverage you can count on. Ashley?
All right, thanks, Michael. I want to show you this really quickly. I just popped up our velocity product because that area of rotation in the north, in the northern storm, I should say, the far northern part of Tuscaloosa County towards Sandtown, that's moving towards Bethel. That is actually showing a little bit more promise as far as rotation goes right now, and that's something that we're going to have to be keeping a very watchful eye on. Let me go ahead and circle these two spots for you. A little easier for me to see, our weather team here, but I want to make sure that you're aware of exactly what we're talking about now that we're talking about two areas of rotation. And I'll move this map just a little bit so you can see this here. As I lift this map up just a little bit, we can see that a little bit better. So here's that. There we go. Those are those two areas that we're looking at. So one moving towards Sandtown, another one crossing over Highway 43 from Gorgas to Holiday Shores, and then down towards Beacon Point. We want to make sure that you're in your safe spot. But the one that, to me, right now actually has a little bit more intrigue is the one that's moving towards Sandtown. Look at this couplet, this bright green and this bright red here. That's concerning to me at this point. I'm going to zoom in here so we get a little bit better perspective. Let me go ahead and turn off our telestrate, and I want to turn our lightning back on because oftentimes when we're looking at this lightning, we can get a little bit better perspective. They're a little bit small on the screen right now. We can maybe make those a little bit larger here in just a moment, but where you're starting to see these lightning strikes, that would also indicate the potential of some intensification for this storm system. But this is really a well-defined couplet here. This is kind of a textbook. This is on Old Jasper Road and then towards Christian Road, and this is moving due east, northeast. So if you know, if you're anywhere from County Road 46 to County Road 51, down through Sandtown, Old Cheatham Road, and then over towards Whitson along County Road 46, you definitely need to be in your safe place right now. This is an impressive area of rotation. As I look at our shear rate, if it's making that S shape, which it is, this is, to me, all of our in-house tools in our toolbox are really pointing towards this as a tornado. Not sure that we have any ground truth on that just yet. Haven't heard from our weather team on that. So generally, we would hear that, but I haven't heard any officials, and we're connected with the National Weather Service and our media, not only our National Weather Service partners, but our emergency manager partners. No ground truth has been reported yet. That does not mean that this isn't on the ground. So we're going to treat this as if it is a tornado on the ground, because there's a lot of indicators right now for me that's saying that there is a tornado on the ground. But again, we haven't had ground truth, but I'm going to treat this situation. Yes.
We do now
So this is now popping up. This is going to be near the Old Salem Church and Gibson Cemetery, moving into Fayette County. So if you live near Old Salem Church or the Gibson Hill Cemetery along Gibson Hill Road or near there in eastern Fayette County, you need to get in a safe place, and that's going to be approaching Oakman. Once it gets into Walker County, it'll cross Highway 18 near Oakman. So that circulation now producing a tornado. If we can come over to links 1 when we get an opportunity, I'm going to circle this for us right here. That little green circle there that you see, I've highlighted it with the pen. That is our current tornado. That is now a tornado on the ground producing damage. This is going to stay east of Barry and going to make its way in the far eastern part of Fayette County. If you live east of Barry, you need to be in a safe place. And if you live along and east of Highway 18 in Fayette County, you need to be a safe place. That highway takes that sort of east-west turn as it moves into Walker County, and it's going to cross Highway 18 near Oakman. So if you're watching us in Oakman, we need you to get in your safe place right now. Corona, you need to get in your safe place right now as well. And then, again, Gibson Hill Cemetery in Fayette County back towards Old Salem Church. If you're watching us there, this is where that tornado is headed, that general area. So if you live close to those spots, you need to get in a safe place right now. This is a tornado doing damage right now. I believe, Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first confirmed tornado we have today in Alabama. This is now moving out of far northern Tuscaloosa County into far eastern Fayette County. This will be east of the Alta community. This is going to probably pretty closely parallel Gibson Hill Road as it moves northeast, and it's going to take that track back towards Highway 18 and Oakman. So if you're watching us right now, far eastern Fayette County and southwestern Walker County, you have got to get in a safe place right now. That is the situation as of this moment. Ashley?
All right, I wanted to put some cities that we're tracking on here, Alex, just very quickly. If you're inside this red blinking box on your screen, this is known as a polygon, we want to make sure that you're getting to your safe place. You've got less than 10 minutes in most spots on the screen here. So from Bethel, Oakman, Good Springs, Aldridge, and Cedar Lake, get into your safe place immediately. Remember, that's putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We want to make sure that you're staying away from windows, you're getting to the lowest floor. And if you are in a mobile home, try to get to a much sturdier structure. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in a basement, but we want you to be on the bottom floor. Unfortunately, those mobile homes can turn into projectiles a lot of times with these storms. This is, to me, again, confirmed tornado on the ground sitting just to the south of Salem, and this storm system currently is going to be tracking over Old Cheatham Road. We had just mentioned that just a few moments ago, heading towards County Road 46, and this is going to be making its way northeast at about 45 miles per hour. As we're looking at this, that's where the red and the green is coming together on your screen, and that's just on top of Sandtown. If you are in Sandtown, get into your safe place right away. This storm system, like I mentioned, is sitting right on top of you right now. It's moving across County Road 46 as we're speaking, and this is going to be making its way towards Old Tuscaloosa Road. There's also Lost Creek that runs you right through here. So we want to make sure if you're on Lost Creek, so the actual waterway, Lost Creek, not the road name. And so this is moving towards Bethel and then over towards Pleasant Field and then Drifton. All these areas inside this polygon. Now, I know that we actually have 2 tornado warnings that we're dealing with, but I do want to mention, look at the one on the south side. That's the one that's creating and producing quite a bit of lightning, which means that it could be intensifying here. We are watching these lightning strikes very closely because the number of lightning strikes that we get would indicate the intensification of this storm system. And it does look like we're starting to see a bit more lightning in our storm in the north, but the storm down here, and they're both in northern Tuscaloosa County right now, but I do want to go back to the other storm very quickly because it actually looks like the rotation is starting to strengthen just a bit. I'm taking our lightning off of here just so we can get a little bit better vantage point. This is what that area of rotation looks like, but again, we've got a tornado on the ground, area of rotation to our south. We have not forgotten about you there, but it's broadening out just a bit, turning into more, in my opinion, a big wind event, but I want to stay with a storm that we do have a confirmed confirmed tornado on the ground. But anywhere from Salem, Wiley down towards Skelton Bend, make sure that you are in your safe place. And then moving out to Providence, Driftwood, Browntown, up through Aldridge, Oakman, get to your safe place right away. This is going to be a wide-reaching area that I'm kind of telling folks to get in their safe place, but I'm covering both my bases here because we have two separate areas of rotation, and one of those does have a confirmed tornado associated with it. And that would be the storm that's moving into Bethel right now. So from Bethel over towards Oakman. If you're in Barry, New Lexington, or Gorgas, the storm has moved past you at this point. I would still stay in your safe place for a few moments longer. You're dealing with some very heavy rain and some very gusty winds there. Just to quickly put this in perspective, I do want to show you some of the winds that we're dealing with. Look at this, 73 mile per hour winds, 64 mile per hour winds, even down on that southern storm, 65 mile per hour winds. So this is definitely, in addition to the areas of rotation, we're also dealing with some very strong winds out there today. Wind advisory is in place still. All right, let's go back here because I want to zoom back into this storm just between Salem and Bethel. That's where there's most likely going to see this area of rotation. Although the last couple of scans, we've started to see this possibly cycling just a little bit because we're not seeing that bright red anymore. You know, where those pixels touch the green and the reds come together. That's a moment ago when I said I think that there's definitely a tornado on the ground. Now that is not as impressive, but it's still present. Even in this last scan, you'll notice how those pixels changed just a bit. So now we're seeing those deeper maroon colors, some lighter and darker greens coming together. So that would still indicate a well-defined couplet area of rotation. Very still likely a tornado on the ground there just outside of Boley Springs, moving towards Bethel, and this storm system tracking off to the northeast. So if you're in Pleasant Field, Cedar Lake, get to your safe place right now. All right, let me collapse this down and we'll move this just a little bit because we want to make sure if you're in Oakman, if you're over towards America, and then Cordova, you get into your safe place. So now this is starting to make its way into Walker County, and now we're talking about Interstate 22, a very well-traveled area. Our weather alert unit right now is in Walker County. It is on Interstate 22. Clearly, we're parked there, but now you can really start to see that rain picking up from our weather alert unit there. So they're tracking the storm. They're doing it very safely. Our storm team meteorologist, Michael Haynes, is in the weather alert unit. And when he's ready, you can let me know. I would like to see how are things starting to change. The last time that we talked to you, Michael, it wasn't raining nearly as hard as it is right now. Tell me how things have changed within the last few minutes where you are.
Actually, like you said, the rain really beginning to pick up right now here as we speak here, just south of Jasper, the intersection of 269 and Interstate 22. So that rain really beginning to pick up. We've also noticed an increase in the amount of lightning with this. And as you said, the circulation looks like it's beginning to weaken. But something that really concerns me is as I look around here, you may not be able to see it there on I-22, but there they go. There's plenty of cars heading directly in the direction of that likely tornado that we have back down toward Oakman now, and that circulation crossing into Walker County. Now that particular band of traffic moving a bit more farther to the northwest, but still we have these storms capable of producing a tornado, and there's just too many people out on the road for my liking right now. So if you're able to listen to us on radio, just please get home, get to your tornado safe place. This will not last all night. Conditions will continue to improve, but as you guys have mentioned back at the station, we do have a likely tornado, or at least we did, moving out of Fayette County into Walker County. But bottom line here, right now, very close to Jasper, we have very heavy rain falling, lightning beginning to pick back up, and still plenty of cars out on the road. Ashley?
All right, thanks a lot, Michael. So again, what we're looking at right now, you've got heavy rainfall. That's where Michael is, currently on Interstate 22. Look how gray the skies are getting in Tuscaloosa right now. Very ominous. And even though we have that tornado warning in northern Tuscaloosa County, it's not for the city of Tuscaloosa, but that's a great vantage point. We've got our camera facing north there where we can see, and I believe we have a photographer actually on the scene. That's live video coming in from one of our photojournalists in Tuscaloosa at this hour. We've also have our storm team tower cam in Summiton, and you can see just maybe a hint of sunshine on the horizon, and then that cloud cover starts to cover up up the sky there in Sumiton. The rain is beginning to fall, and I will say this, for our Sumiton Tower Cam, that will be a very good vantage point as this storm gets closer and closer to Interstate 22. That Sumiton Tower Cam will really be able to pick up this storm as it evolves, moving closer to Jefferson County. Sumiton sits right on the Walker County-Jefferson County line. We'll first start to see the cloud cover increasing, followed by that intense rainfall. It's kind of amazing how dark things have gotten in Tuscaloosa. It's 4:26. The sun technically doesn't set until after 5 o'clock now. So this isn't just because the sky is getting dark naturally because of sunset. It looks like we're really starting to see a bit of a gray, dark sky there in Tuscaloosa this evening. So let's go back to our storm team radar very quickly, and then I'll send it back over to Alex with some new information. Still tracking these two areas of rotation from Oakman down towards Wiley. So kind of a wide swath of severe weather this afternoon that we're tracking, and these storms tracking off to the north and to the east. So really it's going to be bearing down on Interstate 22 from Jasper to Adamsville, including Mulga, Concord. Even though these places have not been warned for, this is going to be a pretty fierce storm that's moving into a number of these communities in western Jefferson County, especially southeastern parts of Walker County. Again, taking aim on that Interstate 22 corridor, I would say pretty much out of Birmingham all the way into Jasper. Two areas of rotation, but this line right now is starting to create some little pockets of rotation. But with a little bit more information, let's send it over to the Weather Center right now. We've got Storm Team meteorologist Alex Puckett. Alex?
Yeah, Ashley, one of the things that I have been keeping a close eye on here is how the lightning has changed as these storms have continued to push east. This northern part of the storm, the one that's tornado warned for Walker County, has seen that lightning trend down. The southern end in northern Tuscaloosa County has started to trend up, and I do want to remind the folks north of Tuscaloosa, far northern Tuscaloosa County, near Wiley, you are still under a tornado warning right now, and there's still some circulation here. It's not as impressive, but we've also noted that the circulation in Walker County has broadened out some. That tornado warning remains in place for Oakman, Cordova, Dora, and Sumiton. It includes the southeastern side of Jasper. It includes Sipsey. The actual tornado, based on the radar data we have, has lifted for the moment. We don't have a debris signature at this point. Some of those yellows that you see in northern Tuscaloosa County, that's some heavy rain interfering with the radar there, not actually debris in the air. And you can see the really heavy rain and perhaps some small hail in the far northern end of Tuscaloosa County near the Walker County line. But what we may watch here over the next few minutes, it's possible that we may have these storms transitioning a bit until that northern storm may sort of hand off to the southern storm, and we may see that the southern end of this big cluster of thunderstorms starts to get a little more intense. We'll keep an eye on that rotation pretty closely. There's oftentimes when you get storms set up like this, one on top of the other, that southern circulation can end up intensifying while the northern one weakened. Still, there is circulation there in Walker County near Oakman. So if you're watching us in Oakman, Cordova, Sumiton, or Sipsey, you need to get in a safe place. But at least at the moment, we don't believe a tornado is ongoing, but one could drop at any moment. And in northern Tuscaloosa County, it's the same thing. We don't currently have a tornado, but one could develop at any moment. That's why we've got that tornado warning in place. Ashley?
Thanks a lot, Alex. And, kind of to your point, this is fairly reminiscent of a couple of weeks ago when we had that tornado move through Hale County. And what happened is that tornado produced an area of rotation. It dropped down. The tornado hit the ground. Then it lifted. It recycled a bit, and then it touched back down. It did that multiple times. So it was one storm, but it produced several different tornadoes. So we could be dealing with a similar situation here where it's one continuous thunderstorm, but every now and again it recycles, and that thunderstorm produces a tornado. That tornado can lift briefly and then recycle and then return down to the ground, becoming another tornado, so on and so forth. So that's why we don't necessarily want to take our eyes off of this, and that's why I want you to listen closely. Just because we mentioned, okay, the area of rotation is broadening out, that does not equate to the storm is over. Those are two very different conversations. So the conversation we're having right now is this is an ongoing severe weather event with the possibility that this tornado could cycle back, and we want to make sure that we're looking at everything. I want to show you the rainfall rates right now. This is impressive. So this is what we're looking at across central Alabama right now. Fortunately for us, I do not think that this will devolve into a big flooding event, but be mindful that the intensity of rainfall will create very limited visibilities on the roadways. As Michael mentioned before, lots of cars out there on the roads, and I know maybe an element of it is you just don't know. Maybe it's someone from out of town, they don't know where to go or what to do. If anything, maybe pull off onto the side of the road, stop at a gas station until this passes. This is not lasting long, maybe 15 to 30 minutes, but much better to be safe than sorry. Rain rates right now anywhere between 5 to 6 inches of rain per hour. That simply means if all of the rain fell at the intensity that's falling right now over the course of 1 hour, it would fill up a bucket measuring about 6 inches, 5 inches even. But right now, it's moving quickly. If this all fell in an hour, we would have flooding issues all over Alabama. Not necessarily the case, but it could create some minor ponding on roadways and definitely some slick spots. So folks really need to be careful. As we do look at our flood potential, though, that's back to our west from Gumbud, Berry, back towards Ashcraft Corner. So not over Cordova or Aldridge right now. But let's go back to our radar because that's really what we want to focus on right now as we are continuing to track these areas of rotation in both Tuscaloosa and Walker counties. So we've got two spots that we're looking at, and I'm going to zoom back out so we can kind of see both of them in the same frame. We have the benefit of that just a little bit here. Let me put our storm relative velocity. So what this is measuring is the speed of the storm in relation to the actual how fast it's kind of moving towards the radar. So what we can track now are these areas of greens and reds, and that's where those winds are rotating. So when the green and the red come together, that's what we're looking at. I'm going to remove our lightning here very quickly just to give you a little bit better vantage point so you can see a little bit more. Sometimes that lightning does clutter it just a bit. I'm going to start with our southern storm, then move up to Oakman and Walker County. We're calling it our northern storm. So this is over Three Fork, Browntown, and Whitson. It does actually look like this is starting to potentially wanting to try to maybe create a little bit of rotation again. So we'll monitor this. It has broadened out quite a bit, so we're not looking at a tight couplet here, but there are still competing wind speeds. So wind directions here. So if you're in Driftwood, Little Shoal, Maxine, I would go ahead and get to your safe place right now. It doesn't look like this warning is going to be extended, though. However, this could create some very strong winds. By the shape of what we're seeing on our velocity product, this looks like it's turning into a big wind event. So this is a straight line wind event. So that rotating column of air has stretched out in more of a straight line wind event. But again, we could be talking about down power lines, trees, so there could start to be some power outages in some of these areas too. So we want to make sure. And with that, I do want to mention, download our CBS 42 app, because if your power does go out and you can no longer watch us on television, we are streaming continuously through both our website and on the app, so you can watch us right there from the palm of your hand. Let me zoom back into our Oakman storm, because it does look like in this last scan, a small little appendage is starting to loop back around, and that would be evidence of possibly the storm kind of recycling just a little bit. This is going to be just outside of Oakman, making its way towards I-22. It's right now right over Williamstown, Aldridge, Bradleytown, and Drifton down to Good Springs and Pleasant Field. Now, it's a bit broad. I will admit that. It is a bit broad currently. Alex?
Just want to let you know we're going to get a new tornado warning for Sumter and Greene counties.
Okay, so that's another warning. That's moving out of Mississippi currently, and that's the storm system down to our south. So we'll go to that in just a second. That will be our third active tornado warning here within the last few minutes. All right, so currently, if you do live anywhere from Jasper, Dora, along Interstate 22, get to your safe place. You still are under that tornado warning. And right now, it looks like the threat for Tuscaloosa County is coming to an end as the storm system starting to slowly move into the southern part of Walker County, and then it will emerge into the western side of Jefferson County here very shortly. Again, a big wind event down to our south. You can even see from our Walker County, this is from Walker County, this is our weather alert unit there. Our weather alert unit right now has storm team meteorologist Michael Haynes there, and we can really see that wind picking up just a little bit. I'm not sure if Michael can hear us, but I'm really curious about the wind speeds right now, if you've been able to feel those winds picking up, because the brunt of this storm has still not quite reached I-22, but I bet those winds are really starting to pick up there. Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you, Ashley. Right now, the wind based on our system here, gusting at 15 miles per hour. But of course, we've had a much higher gust than that. We can just feel it here in the vehicle, swaying back and forth just a bit. As you can see, the rain, it is pouring down like cats and dogs here. Very dark, as you mentioned, for this time of the day. Plenty of vehicles, though, still on the road, and that is a concern because we are not out of this severe weather threat, this tornado threat just yet, even though the area of rotation now just south of Jasper, right now just south of I-22 in terms of relating to Jasper, but this polygon now warning this possible rotation will cross I-22 between Cordova and Sipsey over the coming minutes. The rotation as of right now, not as impressive as it was a little while ago, but it's still there. And seeing lots of cars. We're on this overpass, this I-22 and this Highway 269 overpass, and we do have cars under there. So the screaming message here, don't put yourself in a situation where you could get somewhere where you can't get out in terms of a possible tornado. That's the reason we want you to stay at home, get home and stay there until this severe weather threat does wind down. Fortunately, this will not be an all-night type of deal, but just too many people on the roads right now. Don't get out. If you have to stay at work a little bit longer, just stay in your safe place, and then once these storms pass, come on home. But as of right now, just south of Jasper, along I-22, we have very heavy rain. The lightning has let up just a little bit, and this could very well turn into an isolated flash flooding situation, otherwise aside from that tornado threat. Ashley.
Michael, we are going to also be tracking that tornado warning down in Greene and Sumter County. So looking right here, we are talking about a big wind event. We're losing a little bit of the structure of that rotation for the storm in Walker County as well as northern Tuscaloosa County. So we'll continue to monitor this very closely, but I do want to move to our new tornado warning over in Sumter County at this time because that looks like that's our new area of interest as we start to monitor this. I'm going to switch over radars very quickly so we can get a little bit better perspective of that particular storm system. So moving down south, this is going to be just south of Carrollton and Aliceville, where they've already seen a tornado warning today. That would be in Pickens County, but this particular storm system moving out of Sumter County, now moving into the northern part of Greene County, eerily similar to a track that we saw just a couple of weeks ago. It's a little bit north of that, but very close nonetheless to Sawyerville, although Sawyerville not in this particular warning at the moment. All right, let me go ahead and zoom in for you. Dealing with some very heavy rainfall here, and on the backside of this storm likely is where we're seeing a bit of that rotation. I'm going to put our storm relative velocity back on. This is where we're seeing those greens in red, but this is a very well-defined couplet right here just outside of Mount Hebron, no doubt. Now I can see definitely why they've issued the tornado warning. Let me collapse our warning box for just a second. It'll take that little red off of the background. We can see it a little bit better. So this is going to be New West Greene, moving over West Greene right now. So if you are in northern Greene County, go ahead and get to your safe place. This is along County Road 117, County Road 20, and then Viola B. Morgan Road. Make sure that you are getting to your safe place, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible right now. This is where that area of rotation would be. See where that red on your screen and the greens are coming together? Where those pixels meet, that would indicate that area of rotation. These are winds, different directions that are moving together. So that's what our radar is picking up on right now. Let me zoom out just a touch, and I want to put a track on this and show you who is in the path of this particular storm at this time. So as we continue tracking this, that's what we're going to see. So let me zoom out here for you, and what we're going to notice that this is going to be just to the north of Clinton at this time, and I'll put our warning box back on here really quickly just so we can see. Oh, there we go. There's our warning. So now we can see that polygon. So anywhere between Pleasant Ridge and Clinton, get to your safe place. This is going to be along Highway 14. Alex, what was that?
Actually, we've got a new tornado warning now for northern Jefferson County.
All right, let's go to that.
And so this is going to be north of downtown Birmingham. You're talking about places like Fultondale, Adamsville, Brookside, Kimberly. If you're watching us in the north side of Birmingham, north of Birmingham in Jefferson County, we want you in a safe place. This is for the storm that's coming out of Walker County.
All right, as you were talking, I'm setting up the radar here so we can see exactly what we're looking at, we'll move to our Birmingham radar very quickly. And as we do that, we can definitely see that that is changing shape very quickly. This is actually the same storm system that was moving out of northern Tuscaloosa County. So that's important to note that this is something that we're going to be dealing with. We'll do this for just a second. Let me stay on the Jefferson County storm. Alex, if you can analyze the storm back towards northern Greene County, moving out of Sumter. If anything pops up, let me know. I will analyze this one on air right now, and then we'll get back to the Greene County storm, and then we'll continue monitoring this very closely here. All right, here's what we're looking at. Or if Dave wants to take over the Greene County storm too, this one is definitely starting to show a little bit more curvature. They're moving right over Maxine, and this is heading due east northeast from Porter over towards really all the way up to Quinton. So if you're from Quinton down towards Mulga, go ahead and get to your safe place. This is going to be along Interstate 22 and just north of Pratt City. Pratt City is no stranger to this dangerous weather and tornadoes, but Pratt City, you're sitting just outside the polygon right now. But I would still encourage you to go over that preparedness plan. I've always said that these polygons, although they do a great job of fencing in where the danger most likely is, there's nothing magical about these lines. And these storms and some of those ingredients can bleed outside of these lines. So I always want to make sure folks that are even around the tornado polygon know that they could take shelter even if the storm is not right on top of you. All right, so we are definitely seeing this broader area developing near Maxine, some very gusty winds at this time. We do have some new information. I'm going to send it over to Dave Nussbaum.
Hi, we're still watching the Jefferson one. We're still watching this storm get down in Greene County right now. This one's kind of creeping its way closer there across part of the area. A lot of heavy rain here is working its way through that region. And you'll notice here again, it's right in through here. If there is a tornado, it's going to be wrapped in rain, folks. So we're not going to be able to really see, other than when you look at the velocity product here, that is where our tornado is located. You can see the circulation showing up right there earlier. Our debris tracker is not picking up anything at the moment. Well, I say that, but actually I've been trying to pick up something here. This is kind of far away enough from the radar. It's hard to tell from both Birmingham and also Columbus, but there's a chance there could have been maybe a little bit of some debris trying to come in from this storm here. You can see kind of just north of Gainesville there and kind of showing back up. That would be the location. Let me stop this loop. We're right in through here, and if you take that and you line it up with where our rotation is, they're very close and similar to each other. If there is a tornado here, it's going to be wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to see it. Of course, you might be able to hear it. Winds are incredibly strong here too, just dealing with, again, the storm itself that's working its way on in toward that area. So this is due south of Aliceville right now, and I'm kind of putting a tracker on this one here. This one's moving fairly quickly at this point, about 50 miles per hour. Looks like it gets into the Snotty area around 12 minutes. Ralph around 18 minutes. Gina there about 18 minutes as well. Romulus around 23 here, and Buell about 28 minutes now. So we're still looking at quite a bit. You can see there's our Summerton camera. That is a different storm than this one, of course, but that's a live look in Summerton. This one, again, farther down to the south right now, and that's the one we continue to watch here. Again, our debris tracker trying to hint at maybe something and possibly a tornado here. Let me kind of zoom in a little tighter there on that road where it could be crossing over right now. This is right over Clinton, right about the Clinton area. This is what we're talking about, right in this location here. Again, we're talking right along County Road 17, State Road 14, Pool Road area there. If you live in those areas in the Clinton area, you need to be in your safe place at the lowest level of your home. Again, away from windows, a basement obviously preferred here. Again, the storms here does show that's right kind of where the rotation has been at this point. So, again, that's kind of what we're talking about. Let me go ahead and switch over to show you the different vantage point of our radar here. This is coming from the radar over into closer to Birmingham now. Not quite seeing as much, but still that same area, though, not too far away from Clinton. Pretty intense storm showing up at this point. And looking at the wind shear rate, winds aren't quite as strong there at this point, so still going to be kind of far away from the radar, trying to get the best sample in here, an idea for you. Nonetheless, though, in that region, we can still have some very strong winds. This is, again, down in Greene County. So this is the storm we're keeping an eye on here. Again, State Road 14, area, County Road 117, Creek Road area there. That's what we're talking about. This is kind of where we do have, again, showing where that rotation has been and kind of zooming out a little bit more. That's north of the Clinton area there, and it's moving off to the northeast and kind of working its way through rural parts there of northern Greene County. So this is the one storm we're watching out down there. Kind of zooming back out, let's go over toward our storm that we've been tracking here across northern Jefferson County. This one here has been pretty intense. Look at all the lightning showing up with it. This one right over top about the Maxine area. Storm is moving very, very fast, I might add, over 60 miles per hour. So this one's really pushing quickly across the area there, giving this one kind of looking at the latest here with how much rotation we're talking. It's right in through here, the Porter, Maxine area. And there's our rotation, moving quickly off to the northeast. You can see Adamsville, Mount Olive, Brookside area, Flat Top, heading over just south of Kimberly area there toward Croston, Brentwood. If it holds together, kind of working its way just north of the Fultondale area. Not seeing at this point any debris with it. That's some good news, but still could produce some very, very strong winds with the storm as it continues to move on in. So if you're watching us in those locations, you need to take shelter immediately. If you're watching us in Adamsville, Brookside, Flat Top area there, kind of zooming on even tighter there, Palos Hills or Palos area, we're talking about that as well. Heading to the Fieldstown, Dogtown area, Cunningham, Valley View are going to be in the track of this possible tornado. Again, we're not seeing anything on a debris tracker from it, but this is where it is located here, where the red and greens are coming together. That is where circulation is. And if you look at the actual radar itself, that is right where we would have a possible kind of hook right across this area here. So we are seeing a lot of lightning, maybe some hail mixed in over toward the Dora area. Brian right now up near Summerton, kind of just north of where the center of circulation is. So that's where we were seeing. We showed you the camera earlier of Summerton, the very, very heavy rain coming in. That's why. You can see where that camera is located there. Again, there's Summerton. This is where our circulation center would be located, moving off to the northeast here fairly quickly, I might add. Let me zoom out and kind of do a storm track on this one for you, just to give you an idea of what you can expect and when you need to, again, see this system coming on in. Again, this one's moving really fast here. We'll go about 65 miles per hour, according to the Weather Service. Graysville, 5 minutes. Adamsville, 6 minutes. Brookside, 8 minutes. Mount Olive, 12 minutes for you when it moves on in. You can see how heavy that rain is in Summerton. So if there is a tornado, it is going to be rain wrap. We're not going to be able to see that. Fultondale, about 14 minutes for you. Kimberly, 17. Center Point, 20 minutes now until that storm would get in. If it holds together, maintains. Pinson area, Chalkville, 21, 22 minutes. Trustful, 24 minutes there. Over toward, say, Clay, about 25 minutes. So it has a long way to go. It is moving fairly quickly now as it continues on that track there off to kind of the east-northeast. It does have the potential here to produce a tornado. At this point, we have not had confirmation of that yet. Our debris tracker is still not showing anything yet, which is good. We don't want to see anything, of course, because that would mean we have a tornado kind of producing some sort of damage there. But looking at the radar itself, this is hard to tell, but there is kind of a hook kind of right into the Porter area there. Coming on in, back to the south there, that's just heavy rain for you. Maxine area, Gilmore, Driftwood, you're not in this, but again, there's areas we just mentioned kind of tracking there right through that warning over northern Jefferson County now, coming out of Walker County. This is where that storm will continue to track through. So it's going to cross over Interstate 22. It's going to continue moving just south of Summerton. You can see here we have the Summerton area there. That's where our camera is that you're looking at right now. You can't see much. That's how heavy the rain is coming down at this point. So that storm here, again, has a very interesting look to it. It does have some rotation there with it. We're looking at the different velocity products to give you an idea of what that is. And right now, you've got the red here, which is going your outbound winds, your green going your inbound winds. So you have counterclockwise circulation with this, and that is where our possible tornado would form at this point. So we're seeing rotation to loft. We have strong winds anyway today. Winds have been gusting to 30 to 40. There's gradient winds or winds outside of a thunderstorm. And so with that in mind, we're continuing to track this one. Not to mention, look at all the lightning showing up there as well, too. I'll turn that off. But yeah, definitely going to keep an eye on this one, moving its way about to cross over Interstate 22, the Palos area, over toward Brookside. So definitely, if you're watching us there, you need to be in your safe place right now. Art, Sherry?
Dave, thank you. We are standing by. We've got Pam Palmer, the mayor of Adamsville, on the line as this storm system moves towards that area.
That's right, Mayor. Can you tell us what you're seeing in that area right now?
A lot of fast-moving clouds. The winds are really high. We've had some small hail over the last few minutes. It's just really nasty out there. It's definitely raining.
Well, a lot of people have said, they made plans earlier to make sure people are not out and about during the system, but this is that time of day where folks are trying to get home. Are you seeing traffic or anything like that?
We have had quite a bit of heavy traffic on Highway 78. There goes the sirens again. We're asking people, if you're in a mobile home, are in a vehicle, go to a safe place. Get out of those mobile homes.
And for those who you are watching as we're talking to Adamsville Mayor Pam Palmer, they're looking at downtown Birmingham as the rain is moving into this area, as there is a tornado warning now in Jefferson County. Adamsville is in western Jefferson County. This is near the Pleasant Grove area out there. Mayor, you guys have been through this before. As you talk to your residents there right now, as you're really, this thing is kind of moving in on you guys, what do you want to say to people who may be listening in your area?
Our storm shelter is open. It's open every time we have a watch. It'll be open until 9 p.m. tonight. It's located at 419 Spring Street. Please go to your safe place right now and don't be in a mobile home or in a vehicle.
Thank you. That's Mayor Pam Palmer, the mayor of Adamsville. Storm shelters open until 9 o'clock tonight at 419 Spring Street. We need to get over to Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Ashley Gann right now for something breaking. Ashley.
Yeah, I think right now what we're looking at is the possibility of this tornado dropping down. Again, we don't have ground truth on that just yet, but I am going to treat the next few minutes as if a tornado is on the ground until we get some sort of confirmation. There's just too many of our tools in our toolbox that are pointing me in that direction right now. One of those being that the last couple of scans from our wind velocity product here shows this tightening where these reds and greens are. That's the winds that are moving either away or towards the radar site. They're getting closer together, and we're starting to see the colors enhance. So those brighter greens and brighter reds, that would lead me to believe that there's an actual tornado. So again, I'm going to treat this warning as if there is a tornado on the ground right now. Okay, we'll go over to our shear rate right now. So this is where we're looking at. Look at this. This is one of the most impressive shear rates I have seen all day, if not in quite a while. This is making that classic S shape. You remember when we talked about anytime it's making this S shape. So between our shear rate products, so this is that extreme wind. So we're getting close to this extreme wind, and it's also making this S shape. This makes me very concerned. This storm system right now is moving along I-22. If you're in Graysville, if you're in Adamsville, please get to your safe spot immediately. As you just heard over the phone, the concern in the voice, please get out of a mobile home if you can. Get to a stick-built structure. Get to something much more strong and sturdy. Lightning beginning to pick up here. That will be an indicator that this storm system is intensifying. But wow, this is an impressive scan on one of our in-house products. We're looking at the severe wind. Sounds simple enough, but the shapes that these take on the screen are also indicators for us as we are tracking the storm system along with you. This is starting to deepen even just a little bit right over Graysville. This is very intense situation. If you're anywhere from Kilgore down to Graysville along Highway 5 to Adamsville into Dogtown, Brookside, get to your safe spot. Looks like we just got a little hit ourselves, a little power hit there. All right, so I'm going to collapse the lightning here for you. Let me go back to our radar. I want to look at our debris tracker. Don't see anything right now, but remember, our debris indicator, it can also lag behind the actual area of rotation because it takes a little while for that stuff to get lofted into the air and that to be picked up by our radar and then that information returned to us. So we'll continue going back to this, toggling back in between that. But between our shear rate product, look at this. This is the first time I've seen extreme winds. Again, I'm going to treat this as if a tornado is on the ground right now until we get any more information. This is an intense situation from Kilgore to Graysville. Safe spot immediately. Interstate 22, get off the roads. This is very dangerous. This could be a very dangerous situation. We are looking at extreme winds. I rarely see our legend here get into that yellow category. It did go away with that last scan, but for one scan, it had that extreme wind, and this is traveling right over Interstate 22. That center of circulation will be between Graysville now and Brookside, and folks, you need to take this very seriously. So let me go back to our velocity product. This is where we're seeing, again, this to me looks very very concerning to just put it mildly. So this is right over Interstate 22 from Flat Top Road, Bankhead Highway. This is also Highway 5. So Bankhead Highway, where it crosses Interstate 22, right on top of Flat Top Road. This is where that storm is right now. The center of circulation sitting right over Flat Top Road. This is traveling due east. So Cardiff along Brookside, anywhere from Croc Junction, and then County Road 112. And then this is making its way off to the east. And actually, let's look at these those wind speeds. I'm going to put our velocity product over here really quick as we are kind of analyzing this for you in real time. So looking at those greens on your screen, so we could be looking at wind speeds anywhere between, say, 50 to 70 miles per hour in some of these spots. Let me go back and just show you. This is, again, where we're looking at that area of rotation. I'm going to circle this on the screen so you're very well aware. So right over Flat Top right now, we do have our Summiton Tower Cam. I want to point out this, too. Our last view of our Summiton Tower Cam, we could hardly see anything. I mean, it was not only limited visibility, but no visibility whatsoever. And that's how intense this rain is. And these are also rain-wrapped storms, meaning you're not going to see this classic funnel cloud dropping from the base of a thunderstorm and then it touches down and it's a tornado. That's not going to be visual today. You notice the sky? Look at our Summiton Tower Cam. See, it's just a wall of gray. And that's exactly what these storms are going to look like. The only differentiating factor is the howl of the wind as the storm system gets close. By the time you've heard the howl of the wind, it's too late. So we want to make sure that you're getting into your safe place right now. This is not a time to get out and take pictures and try to find the storm. This is not a storm chasing situation, especially with all of this rain-wrapped storms. Plus, the sun is beginning to set right now, and so that's going to make things very difficult to see. Let me go back to our debris tracker. We are picking up just a little bit of debris, but again, not overly impressive. But with each of these scans, there it is right there, just on exactly where we said, right near Flat Top Road in Interstate 22. That's where this debris is being picked up. But again, a little bit of lag time, so that would go right along with the information that we've been giving you, and that's that. This storm system likely on the ground. I'm treating this as if a tornado is on the ground. I want folks to listen closely, because even if it's not, by the time that it does, we want to make sure that you're taking action, that you've already taken the action to get into your safe place. We don't want any of these situations to be it was too late. All right, next up down the line. So we're going to walk through this along I-65, Fieldstown, Mount Olive. You'll need to go ahead and get into your safe place. Fultondale is on the outskirts of this warning. I'm going to go ahead and tell you to get to your safe place. If you are in Fultondale, if you are in Fulton Springs, anywhere along Highway 31, Interstate 65, get into your safe place. Traveling towards Cunningham, even though I think it's a little further south in that center of circulation, you are going to be inundated with rain and some very strong winds. So it won't be a problem just to hunker down for a little while as the storm system passes. All right, this is still our debris tracker. I wanted to wait just a couple of updates to see if that dot changed colors. We're looking for those yellows and blues, but still that is enough for me to indicate that, in fact, there was probably a tornado on the ground. So I'm still going to go with that narrative right now until we get any further information. This velocity product is just far too convincing at this point. We have those winds. The green is those winds coming in towards the radar. The red is the winds moving away from the radar. So you've got that couplet. That's what we call it. It is just spinning and it's tightening. And that's what we're looking at right now. So with the tightening of that couplet, folks need to really get in their safe place from Mount Olive all the way up to Morris along Highway 31 and I-65, Cunningham to Croston. Get into your safe place. We're going to move on to Pinson, Bradford, Village Springs, and Palmerdale. You need to be in your safe place. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Get to the lowest floor of that structure. If you are in a mobile home, please, I urge you to try to get to a neighbor's house, a stick-built home, even if it's a convenience store, a gas station. Make sure that you're in a building that has that's secured to a foundation. And again, try to follow those proper procedures once there and get to an interior room of that building. You don't have to have a basement. You just need to get to the lowest floor, and you need to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Okay, this center of circulation, this rotation, I should say, is going to move north of Fultondale. So I will say Fultondale, you're likely not going to be impacted, but you're going to be dealing with heavy rainfall. Kimberly, Morris, down towards Cunningham, Croston, Bradford, and Pinson all need to be in a safe spot. Even Brentwood and Compton, you're outside of the polygon for now, but that could change. We have been seeing some pretty impressive scans with this velocity product. Let me go ahead and put our tracker on here for you. And this, again, is as we're tracking the storm, and it's zipping. I mean, we're talking 60 miles per hour. So Mount Olive, it's on top of you. It's going to be making its way on top of you within just a matter of moments. Morris, you've got about 4 to 8 minutes. Palmerdale, about 15 minutes until this storm is on top of you. So just be mindful of that as we are continuing to track this particular storm. Now, keep in mind, we're starting to trim off the backside. If you're in Wegra, you are clear now. Adamsville, I would go ahead and stay in your safe spot, even though that area of rotation is just to your north. If there's a tornado on the ground, it has missed you, Adamsville, and now we're starting to see signs of clearing. So Adamsville, wait about 5 minutes before I give you the all clear, but things are starting to quiet down for you there in Adamsville. Area of rotation has now crossed over Interstate 22. It's howling quickly towards I-65 and then Highway 31. We're in northern Jefferson County from Morris, Kimberly, all the way down really just to the north of Birmingham right now.
Just off to the east of Vulcan and Chitopa right now.
All right, so let's go back to our debris tracker. So this is where we're, look at that dot on the map. All right, let's zoom in here. Is this the area you're talking about, Dave? For the debris tracker. So this is going to be just to the west of I-65. So that's the scan that we were just looking. So that's just moved east of Chitopa now. And this particular storm, again, as it's making its way across Interstate 22, it is racing quickly towards I-65. Our weather alert unit is on the road safely right now, but as mentioned before, storm team meteorologist Michael Haynes, they're in West Jefferson County. They've left Walker County, heading back towards Birmingham. They wanted to get out of the way of the most intense part of this storm. That's a good call there. Makes me a little bit nervous seeing some of those other vehicles kind of traveling northwest at this point, but needless to say, we're kind of heading away from the danger at this point, but you can see how much rain we're dealing with, and we're also talking about this debris signature. So I do want to zoom back in here because as this debris signature shows, we actually, in the last scan, it was a yellow dot, now it's orange, but that would be, again, another indication that this was a tornado that was on the ground. So it could be cycling a little bit right now, and maybe that last debris indicator scan that we were tracking maybe lost a little bit of that, but that does not in any way negate the fact that there was likely a tornado on the ground at some point. I'm fairly confident of that. So again, I'm going to treat this particular warning as if there is a tornado on the ground simply because of all of the things that we're looking at. I'm going to go back and look at our shear rate because this is something that's still quite impressive. It's still making that signature S on your screen, so you can kind of see from top to bottom how it's making this S shape. As it's making this S shape, that is, again, one of those features that we look at for rotating storms. I'm going to toss it over to Dave Nussbaum right now. Dave?
Well, actually, new tornado warning also now just coming in effect for Tuscaloosa County, now including Tuscaloosa itself. But now here at the 5 o'clock hour, watching two tornado warnings, one in northern Jefferson County and one right now for parts of central and southern Tuscaloosa County. This one does include Tuscaloosa. The one in northern Jefferson does not include Birmingham at this point, but we do have, based off debris tracker, a tornado with the one in northern Jefferson County right now. That's the one Ashley was just talking about. Let me kind of zoom in on the one here going on into parts of southeastern or southwestern Tuscaloosa County right now, basically over toward the Romulus, the Fosters area. That's where we've seen some rotation showing up right now here with the storm itself. Give you an idea what it looks like in the radar. Kind of a messy situation here. Heavy rain coming on in. You can see kind of around the Fosters area. This is just north of 5920 and Highway 11 there. So we're continuing to keep an eye on this one as it moves on in, basically paralleling 5920, and it'll continue on that track though across potentially here right over Tuscaloosa. So if you're watching us in Tuscaloosa, you need to take shelter immediately right now. The storm is down to your south and west here. In our debris tracker, this is kind of messy here with this situation, but that's kind of the area we're watching here. Let me switch radars and see if our radar out of Mississippi has a little better vantage point of what's going on here. Still kind of far enough away, both of these, from getting a good sampling, but it's that storm basically right along near the Fosters area. We are watching closely here for the potential of another tornado to be working its way on in. This one would be working its way right up 5920 and would include over into the Tuscaloosa area at this point. So as we kind of look at our tracker here, I'm going to give you an idea. Let me go ahead and put the velocity back on this to give you more of a perspective of what we're talking about. Right over Foster, if you take and watching us out there, that is where our storm is located, moving quickly off to the north. These storms moving fast, about 60 miles per hour. Puts it in the Fosters now. Englewood, about 7 minutes. Taylorville there, about 7 minutes. Right over Bryant-Denny Stadium, University Mall. Of course, that is the heart of Tuscaloosa, folks. 9 to 10 minutes from now. Take shelter immediately. This is a very fast-moving storm. Heading to Holt about 12 minutes. Fleetwood, 16. Coaling there, about 18 minutes. Right by the Mercedes-Benz plant along 5920. Around 23 minutes there, and will continue on that track. Again, the storm right now near the Foster's area, potentially a tornado there. You can see here, go ahead and clear this out. We are looking at a pretty good circulation showing up at this storm here. So again, right along 5920 for Grants Creek Road area there, Glover Road, heading back further off along Highway 11. Basically, if you live along Highway 11 there, paralleling over that area, now you can see kind of jumps back a little bit more here, still kind of crossing over that region. Let me zoom out a little bit to give you a better perspective. Kings Acres area, over toward Inglewood, Brookside, Tuscaloosa itself, all this area. This is where we're watching right in through here. This is our circulation we're keeping an eye on down in Tuscaloosa County. At this point, I don't have confirmation here of a tornado. The debris tracker is kind of showing all kinds of messy situation there. But looking at the shear rate, that's basically what we're watching right in through here. It doesn't have that, what we like to see on the radar to say if it's a tornado in S shape with it, but definitely very, very strong winds located here at this point, kind of working its way into the Tuscaloosa area, and will continue on that track there as we go forward here. So you can see where our circulation, you got the green, you got the red, so red is going out and green going in, counterclockwise circulation coming from the radar up in Columbus, Mississippi at this point, and it is tracking its way off to the northeast. So this one here is one of the storms we're watching. The other one is across part of northern Jefferson County. Let me go ahead and switch to the Birmingham radar for this one. That storm here, again, we've been watching, very impressive looking storm, has actually had debris with it. It does not show it anymore. That's good news. But based along I-65, Warrior, Kimberly, Morris area there, we're looking at that storm there, Highway 31. This one, not near as intense as it once was, still showing that circulation going through Mount Olive, about to cross over I-65, Warrior, Kimberly, Morris area there. Again, Kimberly, Morris, take shelter. Same for you crossed into Bradford area as the circulation about to move over Morris right now. You're looking live, look at Tuscaloosa County there, but this is the two areas we're watching, one in northern Jefferson County and one down here on into parts of southwestern Tuscaloosa County. Down here in Tuscaloosa County, let me go ahead and switch to the closer radar there. That makes a difference. The farther away you are from the radar, it's harder to see because the radar beam goes straight out, and so with the curvature of the earth, it means the beam gets higher, and so you don't want to be too far away from the radar. So this Tuscaloosa is closer to the Columbus radar right now. And so looking at that, we do have that circulation kind of working its way toward Inglewood now, right along Interstate 5920. There's a live look. Look at the heavy, heavy rain coming down right now. You see there over on in toward parts of Tuscaloosa County. I'm not sure exactly where they are. I don't know if you in the back know where along the interstate they are there. 5920, but what part of 5920 do we know yet? Is we'd have that strong circulation kind of working its way right close to Tuscaloosa, Brooksdale area, Devondale area, Inglewood area. You're all in the path of this possible tornado here, kind of giving an idea of what we're talking about. There's that circulation again. When you have your greens right next to your reds, the radar off to the north there. So the red is going outbound winds, green inbound winds, and that's where we have our circulation right in through that location there. So this is what the Weather Service and we are also tracking at this point as the storm's kind of moving. Right now, looks like it's just south of the 5920 corridor now. And looking at our debris tracker, again, haven't seen anything that's truly like a single individual yellow or blue dot is what we look for, and not this. There's a lot going on out there. We have some strong winds anyway with the storm. But you see what we have here right into this location, probably some very heavy rain and hail. So we're down to Foster's where we are. So we're behind the storm. That's good. There's Foster's. So this is where our storm track truck is right now, our photographer. So behind the storm, coming back in behind it, so maybe they can get a better perspective of what this looks like. But you can see incredibly heavy rain falling from Tuscaloosa, Devondale area there, back over toward Brookside with the possibility of even a tornado. Let's go ahead and see if I can get into our Tuscaloosa camera here now and show you what it looks like there. You can't see anything. That's how heavy the rain is falling right now over on in toward Tuscaloosa. This is, of course, at DCH Hospital right now. Intense, heavy rain is coming down. If there is a tornado here, it looks like it may be moving just south of the city of Tuscaloosa, right along 5920. You're not going to be able to see this. This is how heavy the rain is, and this is north of where that location is going to be. So let me go back over to the radar now and show you that is where the storm is here. Let me kind of move back away. Tuscaloosa, there you see here, of course, our camera's right about near where the A is there in Tuscaloosa. Storm Rotation Center is just to the south there. Go ahead and look at that. And again, this is where we're talking, right here to the south there of Tuscaloosa. That is where the strongest part of the storm is. Take shelter immediately in this area as we continue to see here again the strong rotation. Still, again, with our debris tracker, it's been very kind of messy with this, Ashley, but we're still watching this very, very closely here down in Tuscaloosa County, and of course over in northern Jefferson County, where we did have a tornado based off of what our debris tracker showed us.
Thanks, Dave. And I want to show you just behind you on that radar scan, there was a little dot of black. And so I've actually gotten our 3D product so you can actually see that's a little bit of a hail core. And I was seeing if that was actually reaching the ground. It in fact is. So we're likely dealing with some hailstones associated with this, probably on the pea size to maybe at the largest nickel-sized hail. These are not massive hailstones, but hail nonetheless, and so just be mindful of that. That's going to be north of Inglewood, right along Highway 82 as it turns into McFarland Boulevard, and then crossing back over into Cottondale. Some very intense rainfall. And what's interesting to note is the height of these storms all day have not been overly impressive. When you start talking about intense storms, you start talking about tornadoes, it's very common to see these storms start at 30,000 feet, reaching 40, 50,000 feet. These storms are starting at about 10 to 20,000 feet and maybe peaking at about 30,000. So it's kind of faint to see on the screen here, but there's a little yellow line, and that's the 30,000 foot mark. And you'll notice that's about as tall as these storms are getting. So not all that tall. And what's interesting to note there is generally the taller the storms, that's when we can also see a better chance of that hail development. So right now what we're looking at is very heavy rainfall over Tuscaloosa down towards Inglewood. Notice this. This is very impressive. This would likely be some hail forming. These are getting a little bit taller. So now we're starting to see these storms get to about 40,000 feet as we move just to the north of Foster's over towards Inglewood. And you can see some very heavy rainfall associated with this and back towards Cottondale. So I'm going to take it off of our 3D product right now so we can get back to some radar analysis here, because one of the things that I want to point out with this particular area that we're looking at with our radar analysis is the fact that we are going to be tracking the potential for, again, possibly looking at that tornado here. So let me turn our sweep on where we can see our shear rate, because I'm very interested to see that wind. So down towards Tuscaloosa, that's where we're seeing some very strong winds right now. I do want to put our Tuscaloosa tower cam on very quickly. Dave pointed this out a moment ago. Look at the limited visibility here. You can't see anything. Again, this is beyond limited. This is the visibility is pretty much zero. We're hard pressed to even see the glow of the lights here, and you can actually, did you just see that flash? We're starting to get some lightning picking up as well. So we have some new information coming in. We'll send it over to the Weather Center now with Storm Team meteorologist Alex Puckett. Alex?
Yeah. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the radar is looking like here right now. We may be getting a situation where we're getting some of the strong winds showing up on the radar that isn't necessarily best co-located with the tornado threat. Based on this little appendage here, the biggest threat is going to be from Inglewood to Taylorville up to Skyland Boulevard. So once you go back up towards Northport, that tornado threat is a little bit lower. So we're talking about places here like Shelton State, the Winn-Dixie over there in Inglewood, the AutoZone and the Tractor Supply, Hillcrest High School. If you live around here, Bear Creek Ace Hardware, you need to be in a safe place right now. Up to Skyland Boulevard, and then ultimately this is going to continue to lift north and east towards Cottondale. If you remember a long time ago that December 2000 tornado, I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but that kind of a track is what we're looking at here. South Tuscaloosa into Cottondale is probably the highest threat for severe weather. Ashley?
Breaking news right now. Storm Team meteorologist Michael Haynes and our photojournalists have been driving in western Jefferson County, and they've come upon what appears to be an accident there off to the side. You can kind of see the emergency vehicles with their lights flashing there. So we'll get some more information from them right now. Michael, what are you seeing on the scene currently?
Go to front cam.
So we're looking
right now,
at
Highway 5 blocked here in West Jefferson County. It appears to be a tree down or debris on the road. And on top of that, on I-22, just a few minutes ago, there was an overturned tractor trailer. That's I-22 westbound at I-20, very close to the intersection of Interstate 65, getting off of 65, heading back up toward Jasper. There's an overturned tractor trailer. We don't know if that was caused by damaging straight-line wind or strictly a slick roads, but either way, conditions continue to deteriorate here. We continue to monitor as the sun setting now across central Alabama, still dealing with some damage. We did see some street signs that were blown down just heading back toward Highway 5 along Interstate 22. So we're just kind of beginning to grasp now what's happening here in terms of these storms. But something that I've noticed, Ashley, is that folks are still driving as if it's a normal, clear, crystal clear a day. We were getting out to get a little bit of images and some pictures of what's going on, and I mean, tractor trailers absolutely flying by. So we want to urge everyone here. First off, we have rain on the roads. We have the likelihood of some tornadoes down, and it's not good driving conditions. So please just slow down and stay off the roads until this passes. Conditions will improve over the next couple of hours, but for right now, this is a dangerous situation. Please don't be on the roads, and just allow law enforcement to get out and do their jobs to get things back up and operating. Back to you.
Thanks, Michael. I do want to point out that we just had word from our National Weather Service and some of our emergency partners in Tuscaloosa County that there was a funnel cloud spotted over Inglewood Elementary there. That's just to the south of Tuscaloosa. It's where my finger's pointing on your screen, just to the north of Maxwell. So Inglewood Elementary, a funnel cloud was spotted. Not necessarily a tornado on the ground, but a funnel cloud, obviously a first step before we have a tornado. So I want folks to be taking that very seriously right now as we're tracking the storm out of Duncanville. Now, Duncanville, you're not in the polygon for this, but anywhere along Highway 6, that turns into McFarland Boulevard. This will be crossing over Highway 6 into Huntland and then making its way over towards 5920 there. Coaling, Vance, you're going to be on the southern edge of this polygon, but I would definitely stay weather alert through this. Some strong winds developing from Cottondale, Deepwood up through Lake Ridge. Brookwood, you're next, and then Lakeview, Caffey Junction. Some of these usual suspects, these are names we often hear when we're talking about some of this severe weather. So we want folks to be very mindful of this. And again, if you have to do any traveling on 2059 right now between Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, I would put the brakes on it for just a minute. If you can hold off, that's best case scenario right now, because this could be developing into a bit of a dangerous situation, especially if you're on the roads and there's a tornado that's coming. You do not want to intersect that tornado. I assure you of that. Plus the winds right now are pretty intense, and that could easily topple some of these 18-wheelers. So you just want to use an abundance of caution in this situation right now that we're dealing with. All right, let me go back to a couple of our radar products because I do want to analyze the situation just a little bit. Looks like we could be getting a little return on our debris indicator, but I don't know if it's directly associated with that rotation. We're seeing two spots, two dots of green on our map, but as Alex kind of mentioned, there's a lot of wind associated with this right now, so we're picking up a couple of anomalous returns, but we're able to kind of look through that as the trained eye here as we're walking you through it at home, what we're seeing here. Let me go back to Tuscaloosa and then we'll zip back up to northern Jefferson County. So quickly looking at this, this is broadened out just a bit. Still a very good couplet right over Cottondale down towards Eastern Hills. And this is going to be right along that 2059 corridor. And this is stretching back into basically Tuscaloosa. But now Tuscaloosa's on the clearing side of this storm system. But things are starting to evolve a bit from Coaling over towards Vance, anywhere along Highway 11, Interstate 2059, and then over towards Caffey Junction, Gray Hill, and Kimbrell. You all need to get to your safe spot right now. Let me zoom back out and let's talk about the storm that's going on in northern Jefferson County right now, because we still want to keep our eye on this one. It has definitely started to broaden out. Very, very little elements of rotation, not discounting it right now, but it looks much less impressive than maybe about 5 to 10 minutes ago when I was pretty certain that there was a tornado on the ground. So at this point, we're starting to see this situation improve. However, I want to make sure this is actually a live look now in West Jefferson County. Here's some trees down on the road. It looks like maybe some folks are out trying to remove that debris from the roadways right now. So you can see whether this is a combination of straight line winds and or possibly a tornado. So we'll send it.
Alex right now. He's getting a view of the traffic camera on I-20 at Buttermilk Road, and things are about to go downhill pretty quick there.
Okay, we're going to go to Alex right now.
Yeah, this is a live look right now. We're looking west into this. This is I-20 at Buttermilk Road. You can see the traffic lights there just swaying. We just saw this wall of water push through here. We have not got any visual confirmation of anything on the ground, and this camera is going in and out a little bit. So we're going to continue to watch these cameras as that storm continues to push east, as that rotation continues to push east. No confirmation of a tornado here, but again, something that's disconcerting and something that Michael has been noting all day long. We've seen cars driving down Buttermilk Road on this camera as the rotating part of this storm moved in. So if you can hear us on the radio right now, if you're listening to us on Talk 99.5, please, if you're in Tuscaloosa County, find a place to pull off a site-built structure and take shelter until this storm gets past. Don't try and outrun this thing in a car. And there's so much rain in this as well. It's going to be hard to see. And we haven't really seen this camera update here in a few minutes, Ashley. So I think we lost it.
Yeah, well, let's double box it for now if we can. I also know we have our Jefferson County emergency crews are on the scene. There is trees are on the ground. But with that Buttermilk Road, if it's not going to update, that's fine. We don't have to do that. But I have the radar right over Buttermilk Road. So you can actually see I-20 there in the center of your screen intersecting with Buttermilk Road. So there's Buttermilk Road crossing over Interstate 2059, and that was the image that Alex was just showing you, and that was coming through our weather monitor there in the weather center. That's moving towards Eastern Hills along Interstate 20. So just folks need to be very careful out there. This is our Tuscaloosa. It looks like, is this our weather team? Okay, so this is Severe Weather Studios. This is Vince Walty, and this is images they're getting in Tuscaloosa. These are some of our trained storm spotters, so they are getting us some of that video back to you right now, but you can just see that wall of water. These are incredibly rain-wrapped storms. Some of those visuals, even though we did have someone say that they saw a funnel cloud, I think it's pretty likely that they are pretty lucky that they saw that, because most folks are not even seeing some of these things, because this is what it looks like. It's just going to go from rain to wind, and a howling, rotating wind at that, and you're not going to be able to tell the difference until it is upon you. This is not something you're going to be able to see coming towards you at this point. So again, this is a live look from our Tuscaloosa, well, not our tower cam, but a camera in Tuscaloosa from our Severe Weather Studios crew that they're, again, watching the storm system closely. So getting back to our radar here, what we're going to be tracking for right now, this is that evolving situation in Tuscaloosa. We've got Tuscaloosa County, I should say. So what we're looking at currently is that area of rotation. As we zoom out here, I actually think that the backside of this warning has just been trimmed off. So that includes the city of Tuscaloosa. You are no longer in this warning. Tuscaloosa, you're now safe. You're clear. Devondale, you're clear. Inglewood, you're now clear. Let's move into the backside of this warning. This storm system right on top of Holt, Cottondale, Eastern Hills. Even though this is a pretty broad area of circulation and rotation right now, we still want to treat this as if there is a tornado on the ground, because we have seen this storm cycle already, and we're already seeing, look at that intensity of rain. I mean, this is a very, this is a dangerous situation if you're on the roads. One, from the rain, but also from the tornadoes. So I don't want folks to let their guard down and think, oh, well, if the tornado's not affecting me, it's no big deal, because we're talking a dangerous situation on the roads. And with these winds, 50 and 60 miles per hour, we're already seeing those trees can be toppled easily, and likely going to start to hear about some sporadic power outages very shortly with some of these wind and a lot of this rain that we're having outside right now. All right, so let's go back. I want to look at our debris tracker really quick. And again, we are starting to see some potential for some of this debris. Now, some of this could be slightly anomalous, so I want to look in just a little bit further, but because this is not exactly lining up with where that area of circulation or rotation would be, but this is a little bit more impressive to me right now, but we're still going to monitor that, because it's not lining up directly with where we're looking at that. So let me go back to our storm relative velocity. Well, it's close, but it's a little bit ahead of it. A lot of times with the debris, you'll see that debris kind of lag behind. And so it won't necessarily be on top of where that rotation is, but we are still looking at those greens on the screen, the areas of red, and that would indicate winds that are going different directions. The green, pixels on your screen means those are the winds coming in towards the radar. The red, those are winds that are moving away from the radar right now. All right, let's look. I do want to just quickly look at our hail tracker because I did see that very well-defined hail core. So very likely that we're getting hailstones. These hailstones, although you can't tell the size by this, I can kind of estimate by the height of the storms. These are likely somewhere up to nickel-sized hailstones. We did have some reports from our emergency officials out in Tuscaloosa County that there were reports of some nickel-sized hail, so there is confirmation there. But this storm is still producing not only heavy rainfall, but likely pea-sized to nickel-sized hail, anywhere from Cottondale over towards Brookwood right now. So just be on the lookout for that as well. All right, storm relative velocity. Let's go back to this really quick, and then I want to zoom out. So this is our Tuscaloosa storm. Let me just hop up to our northern Jefferson County storm because it looks like they are starting to, did they expire that warning? Looks like that one has expired. Okay, so the only warning that we have right now is in the Tuscaloosa County. So this is heading towards really southwestern Jefferson County now as we're tracking this. It's moved east of Tuscaloosa. So the city of Tuscaloosa no longer in this threat for the tornado potential. Let me look at our lightning because one of the things that I'm noticing from our weather team out there that's tracking the storm is every once in a while I'm seeing those flickers of light. You just probably saw a little bit of it yourself, and that's because the lightning is picking up, meaning that this storm is still intensifying. There's still a lot of energy in this storm, and that lightning is one of those key indicators that we look at to say, hey, is this storm strengthening or is it weakening? So if it's strengthening, we'll start to see a bit more lightning associated with it. So again, all of these variables are just all things that we analyze as we are talking about the severe storm. Now, in this last scan, we're starting to see the green kind of push into the red a little bit more, and it's starting to create a little bit of a curvature there. So I still want to treat this as if there is either a funnel cloud, a strong area of rotation, or even a tornado on the ground. And I would like you to treat it as such as well under this tornado warning. So anywhere from Lakeview, Caffey Junction, all the way down to Vance and Coling along Highway 11, along 2059, get into your safe place. This will stretch all the way up to Birchfield. Even though the cities I'm about to name are outside of this warning box, I want you to treat this as if this storm is coming to you. I want you to have enough time to get to your safe place. So along Interstate 2059 from North Johns to Lawsontown, Pinecrest, Bessemer, Lipscomb, Hilltop, along 459 there, I want you to go ahead and get to your safe place. Again, the warning does not include western parts of Hoover. It does not include Ross Bridge. It does not include that yet, but I just want to keep you apprised because I want you to be able to take some quick action if need be. Go ahead and start getting that plan in place. The best place to be is prepared so that we're not having to make impulse decisions as these storms are moving. We're giving you plenty of time to make those decisions, especially in western Jefferson County. We're starting to see these storms moving through our most populated parts of our viewing area from Tuscaloosa County into southern Jefferson, and then on into, and we've already been impacted with northern Jefferson County right now. So that's what we're tracking currently. And Dave, are you ready? Do you have some more information over there?
To go through, Ashley, watching that same storm you are. This is, again, our severe wind profile. We're not seeing that unique S shape like we saw in northern Jefferson County earlier. That, to us, when we see that show up on this product that we look at, does indicate we likely have a tornado. And in case we did, and you saw shortly thereafter the debris tracker showing debris, that was northern Jefferson County earlier. This one's still our Tuscaloosa tornado warning, by the way, goes in effect until 5:45. It's 5:28 right now, our current time. So we're watching this storm here, but I want to go ahead and show you with respect to this, where it could be going. You can see it's moving from Cottondale area there, kind of just past there, headed over toward eventually the Brookwood area, and heavy rain, likely hail for you, heading back just north of Coling right here. You can see there's 5920, here's Highway 11 through Vance, working its way on in closer to Jefferson County. So the warning ends at the right now Tuscaloosa Jefferson County line. The storm, if it holds together, it continues to show that strong rotation, would be, as Ashley just alluded to, heading its way on into parts parts of western Jefferson County. So right now, that is not the case with this storm. We're kind of zooming out a little bit just to show you where it is in perspective of Birmingham. It's back down here, kind of off to the southeast here of Lake Ridge, not too far away from the Brookwood area, though. And again, nowhere in Jefferson County is under a tornado warning yet. We'll see if the storm continues to hold. Still has a lot of real estate, if you will, to go through parts of far eastern Tuscaloosa County before it gets to Jefferson County. But it is, at least at this point, still showing some of that rotation down there. Not quite as impressive as it once did here. This is from the Birmingham radar now. You can see they're kind of jumping up, a new update. There's the new tornado warning. It does now include Birmingham. Actually, no, I take that back. This is severe thunderstorm warning. It does include Birmingham. Severe thunderstorm warning until 6:15. So they have not continued the tornado warning, rather made it a severe thunderstorm warning, again, for Jefferson County. That does go until 6:15. So they're actually showing that the storm is not going to be quite as intense as it gets here, but it still will produce potentially some damaging winds over 60 miles per hour here, maybe some large hail with it as well, too. You can see on the radar, we are indicating we see the magenta color here, south of Birchfield area there, not too far away from Lakeview. That's likely hail. I'll throw some lightning on, and yeah, right where the hail is, you usually have a ton of lightning, and look at that. That's exactly what we have out there. So north of Brookwood now. So if you're watching us Tuscaloosa, things are fine there. The storm is pasture area now. Light rain falling. Some heavy rain north near Fayette and Barry. But this is the storm. Still that tornado warning there. Tuscaloosa County, that goes till 5:45. And then here in Jefferson County, it's severe thunderstorm warning until 6:15. So it does include Jefferson County. The part of northern Shelby County included in this one as well, too. Back down toward Pelham, not quite to Alabaster, Chelsea area included in this, as well as Birmingham, Hoover, back over toward Bessemer, Hueytown, North Johns area, all in that warning, though. But the part of that we were watching here with the tornado warning is still back in Tuscaloosa County. Looks like right now, most intense part of the storm kind of moving away from where it was the center of circulation, not too far away from the Coaling Cedar Cove area, and just heavy rain and very hail conditions up there from East Brookwood back to the Abernaut area. That's where we've been watching here, and we see this magenta color in shades. That's where we have seen some of the most intense areas there. Again, the rotation not near as intense as it once was. That is some good news. Still can see some strong winds. You see there, right, kind of a bullseye. We can see some of those strong winds coming in not too far away, just north of 5920, and continue on that track kind of just off the southeast of East Brookwood and headed toward the Abernaut area there. Let me go ahead and put a little storm track on here just to give you an idea of what we're talking about with this storm. Let me zoom out a little bit and show you where it's likely going to be going here as it kind of works its way there fairly quickly, by the way. At roughly about 60 miles per hour, these storms have been moving fairly quick, and kind of just give you an idea as it works its way here kind of off to the north and east, though. Again, Lakeview, about 5 minutes. North Johns, about 9 minutes. Glen Hills, 14. Hueytown, 18. St. Few and Bessemer. Brighton, about 19. Helena, about 21 minutes for you. Pleasant Grove, 21. Hoover Met area there, right across Stadium Trace, we're looking at 22 minutes. Fairfield and Hoover there, 22 to 25. The Hoover proper by the Galleria there, along, of course, Interstate 459 and Interstate 65. Now, not necessarily a tornado when it gets on into Jefferson County, but still could produce some very intense winds with this one, Ashley, and obviously some torrential rain coming on down.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. All right, here's what we're looking at. So a quick reset. We've got our Storm Team tower cams. Now the sun is setting, so although it is still gray and ominous, it's probably going to add to that with nightfall upon us. We've got our Tuscaloosa camera. This is with our severe weather team that they're tracking the storm in Tuscaloosa County. We've got live coverage in Jefferson County from our weather alert unit. Storm is at our weather alert unit there in Jefferson County, and we also have our photojournalist there in Tuscaloosa. Sky is gray in Tuscaloosa, but the threat is coming to an end in the city of Tuscaloosa. And I think before too long, we're going to start to see those tornado watches being trimmed off of our western counties. And as Dave pointed out, that tornado warning that was for Tuscaloosa County is now is extended as a severe thunderstorm warning. But let me point this out for folks from Birmingham, Hoover, all the way down into Chelsea and Alabaster. I want to point out that this is still going to be a situation where we could still have this particular storm system ramp back up, and if rotation starts to look a bit more impressive, I would not be surprised if we get an additional tornado warning downstream. So I would like for you to treat this as a tornado warning in the sense of just hunker down and home. It doesn't necessarily mean grab the helmets, the shoes, the whistles, but make sure that you're just inside outside watching what's going on your television right now, because we want to make sure that in the event that this particular storm recycles or that couplet tightens back up, that you're already in a quick place to get to your safe place. So we don't want there to have to be a lot of scrambling, not necessarily a time to say, oh, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, let's run to the grocery store real quick. Let's wait for this particular storm system to pass. All right, let me take the lightning off of here really quickly, because I do want to go back and kind of look at this broad area of rotation. So as we look at this is going to be hugging that at basically that 2059 corridor from Caffey Junction all the way up through Bessemer. It's just slightly north where that area of rotation is. Again, not all that impressive. This is why we're going with a severe thunderstorm warning, but also probably getting some hailstones out of this. The hail along with the winds right now are prompting that severe thunderstorm warning. It's meeting the criteria for that, but we're not really dealing with the tornado, at least on the ground, anymore. So right now, we're just looking at a big wind event, but keep in mind, severe thunderstorm warnings can still produce a good bit of damage from toppled trees, power lines, so folks just need to be prepared for that. If your power does go out, make sure that you have a way to get those weather warnings. You can always watch us streaming from your app. This is a very good time to download our app, because you can actually continue watching us even if your power fails and the TV goes off. You can still watch us streaming on your phone as long as your battery will last. So maybe you've got a rechargeable battery pack that you can plug in there too. All right, let's go back to our reflectivity, because I do want to show you not only what's going on with our storms right now. So this is a look at where we're tracking that very heavy rain, and this is heading towards North Johns, down towards Lowtown, and then over towards Bessemer, Glen Hills, and Rockdale, right along 459. And this is going to be some very heavy rain starting to pick up along 459, and we have not only very heavy rain starting to move into western Jefferson County, but this also extends all the way through downtown, basically reaching downtown Birmingham. I have a feeling within about probably the next 7 to 10 minutes, we're really going to hear that rain here at our TV station. We're located in downtown Birmingham, so that rain's going to start picking up for us, and that intensity will start increasing. This is going to be a pretty big situation on I-65. We've kind of mentioned that over and over. If you don't have to be out on the roadways right now, probably a good time just to lay low for just a little while. But let me do just a quick reset on our radar, because what I want to show you now is kind of where all of this rain is across central Alabama. Currently, that tornado warning is still in effect for the edge of Tuscaloosa County, but I think the bulk of that storm system is now starting to move into Jefferson County at this point. We still have quite a bit of heavy rainfall back behind it, but this back line of rain isn't producing any severe weather. This is just a lot of heavy rainfall right now. Really, where we're looking at any of that severe weather is going to be on that leading edge, and this is actually a look from our severe weather studios. This is 5920 heading towards Vance, and what we're seeing in the sky right now, we're seeing some lowering. We're seeing a little bit, we call it scud clouds, and that's lower clouds that condense just below where we would see some areas of rotation. Doesn't look overly impressive, but you see that tree line there? It's that tree line right there that also really prevents a lot of visuals. You see how quickly that sky kind of disappears or blends in with that tree line? That's why we tell folks all the time, unless you're a trained storm spotter, this is not a situation to go out and chase. Alabama just simply does not have the terrain for that. We have lots of hills and valleys, and we have lots of trees and lots of pine trees that like to act like toothpicks anytime that we have storms like this. So any gusty winds can easily snap those pine trees. So that's what we're tracking right now with our severe weather studios. Excuse me. All right, here's a look at our storm team radar currently. So we've got some of that heavy rainfall. Heavy rainfall now moving into Gadsden, Etowah County, back into Aniana, Blount County, Coleman County. None of that severe at this time. And even as we look at any areas of rotation currently, not really spotting much of that. I'm putting our shear rate product on there. We could be getting some very strong winds, though, from Springville, Aniana, all the way up to Boaz and Sneed. So just be mindful that there's going to be some very gusty winds moving out of, say, Blount County, moving into northern parts of St. Clair County, on into Etowah County. This is going to be along I-59, anywhere from Springville up through Reese City. And this is just a wind event. So we're still looking at severe winds. We're still strong, okay? But it's on the weaker end. Weak, not my favorite word to put on a legend when we're talking about severe wind, but if that makes sense, it's the weaker end of severe wind. So the winds are still strong. They're just not in that strong to extreme category like we saw earlier this afternoon. So just be careful out there, even though there's not a warning up there yet, but or at all. Not even yet. So, all right, let's go back to Jefferson County because this is where we have an active severe thunderstorm warning right now. And as we have our severe wind tracker on here, these are the winds over North Johns right now. We're still in that very strong category. This is right along 2059, heading towards 459. So this is going to be reaching that Ross Bridge community. This is going to be stretching up through Bessemer, down through Lipscomb right now along Highway 150. Those winds are really going to start picking up. And I want folks to just be mindful that this is going to be a really big wind event, okay? Just because the winds are howling does not mean that it's a tornado. But one way or another, you need to be inside because the winds can still be dangerous, okay? We can still have winds that push over trees, especially those pine trees. They can snap very easily. So we want folks to just be inside and playing it safe right now because this is really starting to make its way closer into Hoover and then again up through Lipscomb, Bessemer, and then on into parts of 459. And again, this is along Highway 31. So just folks need to be prepared in Hoover. And a warning just went off. All right, so as mentioned before, not a surprise here. We are going to be seeing this as a tornado warning. So you're watching it live on air right now. That's why the severe thunderstorm warning. As I mentioned before, it would not be out of the reach of possibility for us to see a tornado warning issued. So right now, if you do live on 459, if you live near the Grove, Trace Crossings, get to your safe place. If you're anywhere on 150, back towards Ross Bridge, get to your safe place right now. This now includes that 459 I-20 corridor. This is going to be basically right now, it's going to be moving into West Jefferson County. So the portion of the warning for Tuscaloosa County is no longer. That will expire. So folks in Tuscaloosa County not going to be in this threat anymore. This is now moving into Western Jefferson County. And again, as mentioned, if you're on 459, anywhere between the Galleria, that might be a little extreme for now, but go ahead and get to your safe place. But anywhere from Highway 31, along Highway 31, I-65 from Hoover back through Trace Crossings, Finley Center, if you're near there, get into your safe place. The Hoover Met, want to make sure that you're taking those proper precautions. Hoover High School, if you live near there. And then along 150, back up towards Bessemer, Lipscomb, go ahead and get into your safe place right now. Let me go ahead and put on our storm relative velocity. So this is, again, where we're tracking where those greens and reds come together. You'll get to analyze this alongside me right now as we zoom in here. We're seeing this in real time. So this is the reason for that tornado warning issuance. So right over Lawson Town, this is right where we're seeing it, Ridge Road and then Rock Mountain Lake Road. This is heading towards Flintwood and Hickory Grove. Those are both neighborhoods there. And then this is setting right off of Old Tuscaloosa Highway, which parallels 2059 in Western Jefferson County. So this is just past Weller. You're out of this right now. Again, let me redraw this for you really quick because I want to draw the track on here for us. So as we're looking at this, all right, let me move this over because I want to zoom this out so that we can actually get a good view of this track currently. So as we're tracking the storm system, this is that area of rotation, likely a tornado. Right now, is it still moving at about 60 miles per hour?
It is.
All right, so we've got it moving. It's moving quick, folks. This is not something that's going to dawdle. But in this last scan, one thing that I noticed is that red is really starting to intensify. So please go ahead and get to your safe place. Here's those areas. You've got 5 minutes in Bessemer. Hoover Met, about 10 minutes. The Galleria, 10 to 12 minutes. And Vestavia Hills, 15. Spain Park High School, 17 minutes with Inverness and the Summit at about 18 minutes. This is going to be moving through a very not only heavily populated area, but a heavily trafficked area. I urge significant caution right now to be off the roadways. If you're listening to us on any of our radio partners, Talk 99.5, please pull off onto the road. This area has plenty of places to stop to. If you need to stop off at a gas station, a grocery store, a convenience store, do so. Try to be off the roads right now. Rainfall is going to really start picking up for you, especially if you're traveling 2059 heading west. You need to make sure that you are getting into your safe place, okay? We just don't want this to get dangerous. So McCalla go ahead and get to your safe place as well. Let me zoom back into this because I want to circle what we're seeing. This is where that green and that red is. That's where we would likely see the area of rotation. So that's going to be the tornado. And I'm going to treat this as if a tornado is on the ground, okay? So I want folks to be mindful of that. This arrow is pointing the direction that it's going. Hoover is on the screen near 65, but also keep in mind Hoover stretches out over a large portion of 459 and even back down Highway 280. So Hoover's not just that dot on the map. So kind of giving it a bit of perspective, kind of knowing where you live. Okay, so let's zoom in. I'm going to zoom in a bit more closely here. This is heading right over 459, and I think those are the sirens that we actually hear at our TV station. But again, don't depend on them. Don't rely on them. If there's a tornado warning for you and you don't hear the sirens, that's okay. Have multiple ways of getting those weather warnings. Those tornado sirens are simply meant for if you're outside, okay? If you're outside, then that's a way to alert you if you're outside of your home. They were never intended for you to be heard inside of brick structures and stick-built homes, okay? So that in mind, I want you to focus on where we're seeing these areas on the map. So Rock Mountain, Lake Road, towards the community of Hickory Grove. These are all neighborhoods, okay? Eastern Valley, and then along 459, Eastern Valley Road, and then over towards Summit Farms. Let's travel down 459 because I want to make sure that folks anywhere along 459 up to 150, Lacey's Chapel, you need to be in your safe place right now up through Bessemer. This includes downtown Bessemer, all right? So if you are in downtown Bessemer, you need to get to your safe place immediately. Make sure that you are getting to the lowest floor of a building, of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And anywhere from Bessemer over towards Lipscomb, and then again on Highway 150 towards Lacey's Chapel, and then all the way back towards Ross Bridge. You need to be getting into your safe place right now, and then backing up towards 459 there. Now, I think the center of circulation is starting to travel kind of due easterly, so towards Eastern Valley. Again, Lacey's Chapel right on Highway 50, and then you've got County Road 52 where it intersects there. Folks need to be careful. It looks like, well, is this a new warning that we have coming out? So that's still a tornado warning. So folks just need to be reminded that go ahead and get to your safe place. Let me zoom back out and make sure this it might have been extended. So let me take a look at that really quick.
The warning still goes till 6:30. For Jefferson, Shelby counties, mainly just in Jefferson at this point. Otherwise, tornado watch has been canceled for Fayette and Winston County, but still watching this very closely as you are on the radar right now. That circulation looks like it's about I-459, 5920.
Yep.
The intersection of those interstates there. That means Bessemer, right in the path of that. I'd be going over toward the Ross Bridge area as well. Highway 150, it looks like it's about almost there.
Yep.
Looking at the map here. So this is going to be potential tornado sirens should be ringing there. They are here over on Red Mountain.
Yep. All right. That's exactly what we're looking at, Dave. As you were talking about that, I was zooming into that exact intersection for us so folks just have a better idea. I will be zooming in a little bit more closely, so if you're not familiar with these roads, then that means it really is not impacting you right away. But I do want to point out this is our storm team, I believe our weather alert unit in Jefferson County right now. Severe Studios, excuse me. So this is our Severe Studio partners, and they are tracking the storm. So this is in Jefferson County, and it looks like they're on 2059 currently, heading from Tuscaloosa County into Jefferson County. So they are lagging just behind this storm. So they can see the backside of the storm right here. So I want to make sure that everyone who can see the screen, if you're on Vulcan Road, get to your safe place right now. Nixon Road, County Road 52, down through Hilltop into Pleasant Hill Road, into the community of Greenwood. Get to your safe place. We're going to take a travel down 459 here, Park Lane. This is Hilltop Road continuing to Parkwood Hills. Get into your safe place. Those are the back roads that lead you up to Highway 150. If you're on 150 down towards 459, you've got Mars Hill there. You've got Trace Crossings. Get into your safe place right now. This tornado warning is effective until 6:30 this evening for Jefferson counties, and it also is effective for northern Shelby counties. We'll get to that timeline in a second, but if you're in northern Shelby County, I would go ahead and get into your safe place right now as you're preparing for this storm. Although it's in western Jefferson County right now, it's moving at 60 miles an hour. It's fast, 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 okay? So Shelby County, northern Shelby County, go ahead and get into your safe place right now. All right, traveling down 459 just a bit more. We'll want to make sure that folks anywhere from, say, Timberwood, or excuse me, that's Timber Crest, I should say, and Lake Crescent Circle, Grove Boulevard. So now we're getting into the Grove, the shopping center there at the Grove. We want to make sure that you're getting into your safe place, and this is right over where the Hoover Met is. So if folks go ahead and get into your safe place there, if you are at the Hoover Met and there's anybody in there, I know hopefully a lot of the ball games are canceled this evening and or after school events or any of those ball practices. So hopefully no one's outside or has any plans to be there. But for any reason, if there are people at the Hoover Met, let's go ahead and get them to a safe spot. There are secure areas within the Hoover Met for that. All right, this is moving quickly, though, towards 150. Again, Mars Hill, this is coming up right on you. This is going to be just to the west of the Galleria there. And then you're going to be seeing this travel really paralleling 459. So crossing over 150, Ross Bridge is right where I'm basically circling there with my hand. So let's go back, and as we're looking at this, I want to analyze something really quick. I want to look at our shear rate again because we are seeing some very strong winds. And as I expected, you see those dark reds on your screen. That would be indicative of some very strong winds right now. And that wind is really pushing off to the east. Now, one thing I'm not noticing as prevalent is that S shape. You remember we talked about that throughout the day. This looks to me like a big wind event, but that in no way should take away from the fact whether it's winds at 70 mile per hour or a rotating tornado, it's all possibly dangerous, okay? Whether you're driving on the roads or whether you're at home, these winds could easily topple those trees and power lines. And I know I've mentioned that before, but I think it bears repeating at this point. So we'll send it to Alex. He's in the Weather Center. He's got some new info. Alex?
Yeah, Ashley, on the southwest flank of this storm, we're starting to see this wrap up. So this is actually this second circulation that's developing right now near Paradise Lane, Smithson, Loveless Park. This is south of 459. This has started to wrap up a little bit at this point on the south side of this. So we're watching this part of the storm as well as that main part that's prompting the tornado warning. That part now east of Lakeshore Parkway along Highway 150, and that's continuing to lift to the north and east. That's going to be impacting Hoover, Homewood, Vestavia Hills, and River Chase soon as it continues to lift to the north and east. This is a live view right now. This is downtown. Is that correct? Downtown Birmingham? Near City Hall, and the wind here is whipping. This is not the tornadic part of the storm, but this part of the storm that's impacting downtown Birmingham, capable of producing damaging straight-line winds. You can see that view right there, and we've got people driving. If you can hear us on the radio right now, you have got to get off the roads and get into a safe place. Find one of these businesses and knock on their door and see if you can ride this out for 30 minutes, or really less than that in downtown. You've got to get in a safe place. You're under a tornado warning. And again, this storm with two circulations at this point, we'll circle them. We've got the main circulation right now that is between 459 and Highway 150. That's east of Bessemer now. A second circulation that is showing up now, though, near McClendon Chapel Road, south of 459, that we're also going to have to watch as well. And you can even see in the reflectivity here, the rain product, you can see that hooking around a little bit there on that backside. So two circulations that we're going to have to monitor closely. No confirmed tornado at the moment, Ashley, but again, the reason this warning in place, destructive straight line winds and the potential that at any moment this storm could drop a tornado. So Ashley, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, so I'm zooming back into that, and actually right where you're talking about, it's very interesting that a lot of these storms that we've seen today have actually produced multiple areas of rotation within basically the same line, but just in different spots. So this one's right over Smithson. This is heading towards Eden Ridge. And as we're looking a little bit more closely, again, this one is the one that's south of 459 at this point. And I'm just going to put a couple of little trackers on here. So look at these winds, 70, 20 miles per hour. So I mean, we could be looking at goodness, howling winds there at this point. So folks really need to take this one seriously. This one, we're kind of moving our attention south of 459 towards McClendon Chapel Road, and this is heading over towards Indian Hills and Indian Springs. So this one, if keeping together, will cross through Pelham. So let me kind of walk you through this one really quickly, because this one is the one that's really piqued our interest at this point. We don't need to let our guard down. So there's two. Remember, we've got one near 459. Near Hoover. That one's moving over the Met, moving towards the Galleria, and then Highway 31. Hearing those claps of thunder here, so lightning is really picking up at our TV station in downtown Birmingham. Our second area of rotation, a little south of 459, and this one is going to be traveling pretty much south of 459, paralleling that, and this one's going to end up in Pelham. So this will be kind of near Highway 119, Indian Springs. You have Valleydale Road, and then this is going to intersect Highway 31 and then I-65 there. So we'll need to make sure, hopefully we're on the air. Okay, I think we are. All right, we're good. All right, so my monitors went black for just a second here, so glad that we're on the air. So we're looking at this storm system at 459. So again, two spots of where we're seeing that rotation. I want to point out that the one down to the south, although broadened out in the last scan, I don't want to discount it at this point, because it looks like it could potentially be gaining a little bit of strength. And with as much lightning that we're seeing, which I do want to put my lightning tracker on here, this is where we're seeing a bit more lightning out there. And with that lightning starting, you can actually see those flashes of lightning to our south picking up. And then as we move closer into Birmingham, we can start to see those lightning strikes really starting, the frequency starting to increase just a bit. And this is near downtown Birmingham, right over Homewood. And that's actually where this other area of circulation is likely going to be heading right now. Do what? We've got some hail. Is it hailing here at the station?
Here at the station, yeah.
All right, so we do have a metal roof here at the TV station, so we can hear that a little bit. So we can hear the sounds of some hailstones here. Let me put this on really quickly. Let me go back to our reflectivity for just a second, because we're likely going to be able to see some of that. This is very heavy rainfall. Actually, look at is this Severe Weather Studios video right there from Jefferson County? Oh, this is actually our photojournalist, Andrea, excuse me. This is downtown. You can see those sheets of rain just moving across the roads there. Wow. Folks, this is intense. This is a very intense situation. Some very, very strong winds, some very heavy rainfall there, and that lightning is starting to intensify. We're hearing those claps of thunder here at the station. We're even hearing some hail at the TV station as well. So folks just need to be careful, stay out of the elements, get inside, find an interior room, get to the lowest floor, and get to a basement if you have it. If you don't have a basement, that's okay. Just get to the lowest floor of a house. You don't want to go up. You want to go down, and then just put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, staying away from those windows. That's very important. So this, again, is a live look from downtown, and you can see how heavy this rain is. When you see that red and the purple on your screen, that would indicate that very intense rainfall. Let me go back to our velocity product. This is our storm relative velocity. We've seen this wind field kind of expand out a little bit. Even though we're monitoring that southern edge just a bit, it looks like it's lacked a little bit of that rotation. It's broadened out just a bit. I don't see that really tight couplet anymore. That to say, as we've seen with these storms today, that could easily change within a couple of scans. So let's not let our guard down. Let's very much treat this tornado warning as if a tornado is on the ground, simply because these tornadoes in this environment, if we start to see these cycling through again, it could quickly drop a tornado, and we want you to already be in your safe place instead of having to scramble to get there. So let's talk about some areas that you need to seek shelter. If you're in Mars Hill, so this is going to be basically Trace Crossings there, and then over towards the Galleria, Hoover, along Highway 31, Vestavia Hills, all the way through downtown Birmingham, crossing over I-65, and even along 459 to the Summit, Mountain Brook, Homewood, getting to your safe place right now, and then along Highway 280 from Inverness down towards Lee Branch, so traveling 280 there, and then the Greystone area, getting to your safe place, Highland Lake, getting to your safe place. So this will be 280, basically just south of Greystone, so it's going to be over the mountain, and then you're going to have Eagle Point is included in that as well. And this misses Chelsea just by a little bit. But if you're in Chelsea, I would just go ahead and stay inside. Even though you may not be in this warning box, it's still going to be a very rainy night for you and a lot of gusty winds. Look at all of that lightning from our Storm Team Tower Cam. There are actually, limited visibility. Is that Andrea still? It's the BJCC camera. That's how intense the rain is right now. It's a little hard to even see. We can see the faint lights there, but usually we have a very clear picture from our BJCC tower cam. Hard to see with all of that rain now moving into downtown. So let me go back to Hoover, something that just piques my interest. This actually just popped up. So this is where we're seeing those greens and reds. This is actually a bit concerning to me right now. Alex, is there any chatter on National Weather Service right now about this area on 459 near Lorna Road? So this is going to be moving closer to Vestavia Hills, Lorna Road, Highway 31. Things are about to get very intense here. So this is going to be along Lorna Road. You've got the Walmart Marketplace there. You've got a Chick-fil-A, Party City. That's right where this storm is heading towards right now. So if you're in any of those areas, you've got quite a few car dealerships and then the Galleria. So folks need to really kind of hunker down in these spots, anywhere from the Galleria up Highway 31. And then this is Lorna Road. And then this is going to be dropping you south down towards Indian Hills. So this is Tuscaloosa. This is 415, or Jefferson County, I should say. So 459, that's our, I assume, our weather alert unit that's on 459. So we're looking at that, and you can see all of that lightning off in the distance too. So that's one of those things that we look at, continuing to track that lightning. Even though our lightning tracker's on, we haven't seen quite a bit over this area of circulation. I want to keep this here. I want to go back to our shear rate. So again, that's kind of a fancy terminology for you right now, but basically where you're seeing these deep maroons on your screen, that is really strong winds. I'm not seeing that S feature that would lead me to believe that there's a tornado on the ground, but I do want to treat this as such right now because regardless, this is a big wind situation right now. We could be talking winds of 80 miles per hour, okay? We're just looking at some of our velocity numbers. Even though those are measured at a couple of thousand feet above us, they'll reduce down a little bit at Earth's surface. We could still be talking about significant winds here, easily knocking over trees. This is the time when those trees will fall over on roadways. Look at all of that lightning right now off of 459. Wow. So we've got some strong winds from Ivy Glen through Chestnut Ridge, all the way, again, across Lorna Road. This is Highway 31 as you're making your way towards I-65. You've got Montgomery Highway up towards Vestavia Hills, and then all the way down towards Indian Valley. So you've got 119 down here, River Chase, and this is going to be along the Cahaba Valley Road. So this will start making its way over into the Pelham community. So very strong winds there. Although the winds are going to stay just slightly north of Indian Springs, and it looks like that wind field where it's most intense will stay slightly north of Valleydale Road as it connects 280. This will likely be traveling along 459 towards Acton Road. You've got Briarwood Church and then on to the summit. So if folks are at the summit right now, I would go ahead and get folks to a safe place at the summit right now. They don't need to be in the parking lot. They need to be inside the buildings right now at the summit. So that's important to note. Along 459, this is going to, this situation will devolve very quickly as these winds pick up. Again, regardless if they're rotating or not, this is a dangerous situation, especially for an outdoor mall. So if you have anybody that you see outside at the summit, please get them inside of those stores right now or the restaurants there. Very important there. And then you've got Cahaba Heights. Go ahead and get to your safe place. Make sure that you're taking proper precautions there. And then back towards Rocky Ridge Road and then over back into I-65. So now you're starting to get into the Vestavia Hills community, and then it'll start moving into Mountain Brook. We're leaving Hoover, kind of traveling along 459 into Vestavia Hills and on into Mountain Brook. So this shear, this is the wind. This is how intense those winds are right now that we're tracking. And let me look back at our storm relative velocity, because we're still seeing, I mean, it's kind of lining up to be more of a straight line wind event. I'm not seeing as much of that rotation within these colors, but the colors are still there. So still a notable couplet, I'll say. And what was that? Okay, and we'll send it back over. We'll send it over to Dave right now at the big monitor.
All right, Ash, to give you a little break there for a second, but yeah, we're continuing to track this storm as it's working its way through Jefferson County. Right now, the heart of the bigger population area of the county, of course, too. We're talking the Hoover area, heading toward Vestavia, kind of not too far, just south of the Birmingham metro area, back over to Cahaba River Estates, Inverness area, and eventually heading further off in toward Double Oak Mountain area, kind of just north of Chelsea. So this is our big thunderstorm here. The lightning amount has gone down, which is good. So it did peak up a little bit higher and has come down a little bit. And so that means the storm kind of got a little stronger. Now it's kind of weaker a little bit. It's not to say it can't pulse up again like it has, but at least at the moment now we're watching this storm. So heavy rain from Moody, Trussville area, Alton, Brookmont area, right back toward Vestavia, through Hoover, Highland Crest, Cahaba Heights, High Point area there, Cahaba Valley Estates just to the south of it right now. Still heavy rain back toward Bessemer as well. And that tornado warning still in effect that we have here. This does go until 6:30. Currently it's 6:03 our time right now. And there's that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 6:15 for those areas not in that tornado warning. Now, there is still, as Ashley was talking about, still a little bit of some rotation still showing up right here, Vestavia to Inverness area. So we're still going to watch this here with the red going outbound, green inbound. You have a counterclockwise circulation, and that's why the tornado warning is still persisting across the region. One of the better way to see where the strongest winds are is that shear rate we've been talking about, and it's about to move right over just south of Vestavia there, right along and just immediately south of Interstate 459, about to get right over toward the 280 corridor. So let me kind of zoom in a little bit here, a little tighter for you, and show you what we're talking about. Again, so the Acton area there, Chestnut Ridge, Indian Valley, Heritage Oaks, County Road 29, Valleydale Road. It's going to be just kind of along and north of there, north of Indian Springs area. That's where the strongest winds are. Ivy Glen heading right, as Ashley mentioned, to the Summit, Asbury Park area, and continuing right over 280, right at that interchange there, the big one where we see a lot of everything going on. Powerful on Grandview camera. Okay, let's go ahead and see if I can pull up the Grandview camera on here. Let's see. There we go. Right now we have this is our Grandview camera. Live look right now. That is that intense part of the storm coming right over top of Grandview, and you can see here. Can't see much at all at this point, but this is where that stronger circulation. I was just saying that 280 and 459 interchange. You can't really see much. If there would be a tornado, it would be in this mess right now of heavy rain and possibly some hail mixed in as well too. But this is our camera here at the Grandview Hospital. We're looking into right toward 459. Or Highway 280 would be kind of here on the side of the screen there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. To the right side would be 280. I can't even see traffic. Traffic shouldn't be there anyway at this point. But over for all the restaurants that are right there, all the hotels, the Marriott Hotel, going up all the way in toward the Summit. This is what we're talking about at this point, though. So, again, this is our Grandview camera. I can see some of the lights down there at this point. Down below, there looks like here would be, I think, I can't really tell, this might be 280 kind of working its way toward 459 at this point. But we have reported power flashes there. It could be from a tornado. It could be just from the trees coming down because of the strong winds working its way through the area right now. I haven't seen much. We'll continue to monitor that one for you here and kind of go back here to the radar and show you that same spot. That's where their strongest winds are. Again, this is where our severe wind is. There is that Grandview Hospital is about right here. So we're talking about that's where the intense winds are moving through that region right now. Inverness, we're talking about you. Brook Heights eventually coming toward your area, right along Interstate 459 at that point, headed toward past Acton and continuing on its way over toward maybe the Brook Highland area there toward Lee Branch. Let me switch over to the radar right now. You can see pretty much more intense right now looking, and we still have that circulation going right over that area. So with that in mind, the tornado warning in effect there. We still have it continuing to go here until, again, that tornado warning until 6:30, but that's that circulation right through there. That's where we've seen that continue to work its way through the region there, and we'll continue looking at basically here what we're talking about. There is not seeing any kind of debris tracker, which is good. Not that stuff you see to the south. Don't worry about that. We are looking in that area there, not too far away from the Inverness area. Let me zoom out a little bit and kind of show you a better perspective of what we're talking about. Let me switch back to the radar and show you that's where the intense part of the rain is right there. Here's 459, Highway 280 at this point, Inverness area there. That's where our Grandview camera is. So that's where the kind of the worst part of the storm is, and still shows that circulation kind of working its way right through there at this point. So as that continues on that track here, real quick before we go to Ashley, let me kind of do a zoom out real quick and kind of give you a storm track of what we're talking about. These storms, again, are moving very quickly here, about 60 miles per hour. So again, Lee Branch Shopping Center in about a minute, Brook Highland about 2 minutes, Donovan area, we're talking about you 11 minutes, Sterrett about 13 minutes, Moody 18 minutes, Pleasant Grove 19 minutes there. So Ashley, we're continuing to watch this, again, very, very heavy rain and strong winds, even if there isn't a tornado.
Yeah, and Dave, thanks so much for that. And what we're looking at right now is our Grandview Tower Cam kind of looking up towards the summit, and you can see that limited visibility. Our Grandview Tower Cam sitting on 280 near Inverness right now, and we're going to be continuing to track some heavy rainfall as it crosses over Highway 280 at this time. And I've kind of toggled back and forth between some of our tower cams. Unfortunately, with nightfall, it's a little hard to see a whole lot, so we can only visit our Storm Team Tower cams where we actually have a lot of this light that we can see here. Right now, looking kind of double boxed in with me is our another camera. This is our Severe Weather Studios camera. This is on 459 near Liberty Park. And this is, again, the kind of situations we're seeing on the roadways right now. So we really want folks to be careful out there. Heavy rainfall at Grandview Hospital there on Highway 280, looking up towards the summit at this time. So we'll go back to our radar product. This is our velocity product as we continue to track a relatively broad area of circulation at this point, and it's hugging that 459 corridor, crossing over I-65. Significant rainfall associated with this, but it looks like we're starting to see this tightening up right over Brook Highlands. So if you are in Brook Highlands right now, you need to go ahead and get to your safe place. Let me go ahead and zoom in here. This is right at Highway 280, and this is going to be Brook Highlands, and this will be heading back towards Cahaba Valley Road, Highway 119, and 119 that takes you up towards Grants Mill. And so, folks, anywhere between Brook Highland right now, this is near the summit, Lake Purdy, go ahead and get to your safe place. And this is kind of a broad area, but this is right over Highway 280 in a very densely populated area near Meadowbrook. This is going to be near Highway 280 and 119, and this again, very, very populated part. This is Inverness, and this is going down back towards Meadowbrook, over towards Brook Highland, and then up towards Cahaba Valley Road, Highway 119. That's where I'm kind of outlining that on our radar right here. So make sure that you are getting into your safe spot. There are several neighborhoods along this. Greystone, you are included in this. You need to get to your safe place. If you are in Greystone right now, go ahead and get to a basement, get to the lowest floor of your house right now, and that will extend anywhere from Greystone even over the mountain back into Highway 41. I would go ahead and get to your safe spot as well. This is going to continue moving off to the northeast. This is zipping. We're talking moving at 50 and 60 miles per hour, a very fast moving system right now. Likely, I want to treat this one like it's a tornado as well. This couplet is definitely tightening up with each scan. We don't have any ground truth on that yet, but things are definitely going to evolve and or devolve very quickly. So we want to make sure that you are in your safe place, that you're going over that preparedness plan. So this is the Brook Highland community moving along Highway 119, and this is going to be tracking off to the north and northeast, following Cahaba Valley Road, and eventually ending up in Leeds. So folks need to be very, very mindful of this. So this is going to be right over Greystone. You've got Greystone, the neighborhoods, several Greystone neighborhoods here right along Highway 119, back into the Legacy entrance. You need to go ahead and get to your safe spot right now. Continuing down Cahaba Valley Road towards Rex Lake Road. You've got Lake Purdy just on the west side here of Cahaba Valley Road or Highway 119. So you'll need to get to your safe place. And I would even say anywhere back into Liberty Park, get into your safe spot, especially the back side of the neighborhood that backs closer into Grants Mill area. You'll need to get to your safe place. Blue Lake Drive, anywhere along Blue Lake Drive, Grants Mill Road, get into your safe place along Lake Purdy, because this storm system is really traveling along Highway 119 right now. Winds really going to fiercely start picking up here, and then it will make its way into Donovan Valley. So along Highway 41 over towards Vandiver and Highway 43, get to your safe place. That's Bear Creek Road. You'll also need to make sure that you're in your safe place anywhere on Donovan Valley from Highway 280. That will include places like Highland Lakes all the way down to Mount Laurel. Make sure that you're getting into your safe spot all the way back into Shoal Creek. You'll need to make sure that you're getting into your safe place as well. Again, this is moving over Brook Highland as we speak. So from Brook Highland to Greystone, traveling over Double Oak Mountain, and then along Highway 41, Donovan Valley Road, to Highway 43, Bear Creek Road, from Vandiver all the way back into communities like Mount Laurel, Shoal Creek, and Highland Lakes. You need to go ahead and get to your safe place, get to the lowest floor of your house. We've got some new information. We'll send it over to Alex in the Weather Center. Alex?
Yeah, this is on the ground now. We've got a new debris signature popping up northeast of Brook Highland. And again, the next big town in line here is going to be Leeds. So if you're watching us in Leeds, you need to get in a safe place. This is basically right on Cahaba Valley Road or just east of it, and it's going to ride Cahaba Valley Road northeast all the way back towards Leeds. So this will end up, if it continues on this path, east of some of the big shops off of I-20 and head more towards downtown Leeds. So Donovan, Leeds, and even back further west on I-20, back towards the Barber's Motorsports Park, the Buc-ee's. You need to be in a safe place too, but particularly downtown Leeds towards the high school, you need to be in a safe place right now. That is on the ground and currently doing damage. Ashley?
All right, I'll take it from here. This is an area we know very well. Actually, in short of calling out friends' names that I know who live in these spots right here, if you can hear the sound of my voice, I really need you to get to your safe place right now. So anywhere from Greystone, that would include the Legacy entrance to Greystone, across Hugh Daniel Drive, along Highway 41, anywhere from Mount Laurel to Shoal Creek, Highland Lakes. You need to be in a safe spot immediately. This is moving along Highway 119, Cahaba Valley Road, back into Leeds. So this is also going to be crossing over Rex Lake Road, and that's going to hug Lake Purdy there. Not a whole lot of houses there on Rex Lake Road, but there are several. So those folks need to go ahead and get into their safe spot. Even the backside of Liberty Park, you need to get into your safe spot right now. And this is going to be traveling towards Leeds. Lots of residents right along Highway 119 here. We've got several horse farms along Highway 119, basically just outside of Greystone, traveling along 119 until you reach downtown Leeds. Everyone from Leeds back into Brook Highland needs to get into their safe place. That includes Donovan Valley. If you are in Donovan Valley, anywhere along Highway 41 and then Highway 43 on Donovan Valley, that's Bear Creek Road, you need to get into your safe place right now. I want to make sure that everyone is well aware that this is a dangerous situation. It is producing a tornado. We do have confirmation of a tornado on the ground right now. This is heading towards Double Oak Mountain. This will be just outside of Eagle Point right now, but this will be pretty much northeast of Highland Lakes. So it's a large neighborhood. So everyone in Highland Lake, get to your safe place, traveling up 41 there towards Mount Laurel, get into your safe place, all the way down into Shoal Creek. This particular storm now, the center of circulation is right over Highway 119. Let me go ahead and zoom back in here because we are dealing with, again, confirmed tornado on the ground. This is right over Highway 119. It's over Greystone as we speak along Hugh Daniel. So in between Highway 119 and Hugh Daniel, the intersection of 119 and 280, this is crossing over right now. You need to get into your safe spot. There's a Chick-fil-A right there, a couple of gas stations. Folks need to be inside these buildings, making sure that you're safe. So that's going to be traveling just over 280 now. And now we're looking at Grants Mill Road and Rex Lake Road. Those are also some areas that folks need to get into their safe place, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And then again, crossing over Double Oak Mountain, this storm system is going to be approaching some spots on 41 there. And then where Hugh Daniel and Donovan Valley Road intersect, there's a new red light there. So folks need to make sure that they are following these proper precautions. Let me zoom back out very quickly so we can just get a quick perspective here. I'm going to turn off our warning so that pink on your screen is going to go away just a little bit so we can see a little bit better here where we're seeing that area of circulation. So this is where the center of that storm is. Let me look at one of our other products. I want to look at two things. One is our shear rate, and we're really starting to see this curvature. We're not seeing a full-on S, but we are definitely seeing a little bit of a curve there. And this latest scan, it jumps quickly because these storms are moving very quickly at about 60 miles per hour, in fact. So some very strong winds being produced right along Highway 119 from basically Brook Highlands area, Greystone, all the way into Leeds right now, and this is going to be making its way through Oaks Crossings here, Oak Crossing, and then of course Dunavant. So use caution. I also want to look at our debris tracker really quick just to see if there's anything on here. Maybe something actually back there in Dunavant. So this is actually this corresponds with our radar signature, and as mentioned before, anytime we're tracking these debris balls, if you will, they will have a little bit of a lag. So this would go in correlation with a confirmation that there was a tornado on the ground. This debris signature is being picked up basically right over Greystone at this point, right off of Cahaba Valley Road, also Highway 119, and this is heading towards the town of Dunavant and Oak Crossing right now along Highway 43 as we're tracking this particular storm system traveling due northeast at this time. You've got Adams Road and then State Route 25, Shoal Ridge Drive, so just folks need to really be on the lookout here. Let me zoom back out so that we can get a good idea of where so there's that debris signature just off Highway 119. And then as I look here, I want to look back at my shear rate because we are just getting a cluster of wind, okay? We've got some very strong wind along Highway 119. We're also having some wind that's preceding this storm just a bit, so it might not be directly associated with that tornado itself. We want to make sure that folks are following all of these. So actually, it's still holding together, this last scan, as I zoomed in. Let me circle this for us real quick. That was yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll look back. Alex, do you have that debris signature up?
Yes, I do.
Well, we'll hop over to Alex real quick.
Yeah, so the debris signature is still very much there at this point. This is basically on the northwest side of Dunavant, and this is going to come right into downtown Leeds. So that's Highway 119. Here's Highway 78, where they intersect there. You've got the Sonic Drive-In. The Leeds Elementary School is over here, and this is going to be heading right in that direction. So if you live in downtown Leeds, you need to be in a safe place right now. We have a tornado on the ground doing damage, and it is heading your way right now. So we'll circle that circulation for you right there. That is right now between or on Dunavant Road and State Highway 119. It's moving right along that track there and heading towards Leeds. So if you're watching us in Leeds, if you're listening to us in Leeds, you have got to get to a safe place. You're not going to be able to see this. It is nighttime, and you see I've moved over to the rain part of the radar here. It's just totally red and orange all around it. It's completely wrapped up in rain. The most experienced storm chaser would not be able to show you what's going on there. There's just no way to see it. So you've got to get in a safe place and ride this thing out. It's going to be the lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you're watching us in a mobile home or a manufactured home, you need to evacuate those and seek a sturdier structure, a site-built structure, and get into an interior room, lowest floor, or if you can, a basement, or even better, a FEMA-approved storm shelter. But Ashley, obviously a dangerous situation ongoing right now. Again, Dunavant back into Leeds. This is pushing into the south side of Leeds right now. This is moving into South Leeds, and this is going to move right through the heart of town, near the elementary school, near where 119 crosses with Highway 78. Ashley?
So some landmarks for us there. And actually, Alex, just as you were tossing it over to me, that scan updated right behind you with that debris signature. I'm going to go back over to that because now we have a blue dot in the center of that. That is a very significant signature anytime we see those greens and blues. So again, that is just reaffirming what we already know to be true, that there's a tornado on the ground. But what this debris indicator could do is also indicate the strength of that tornado, because that means there's a lot of debris being lofted, and it takes a strong tornado to do that. All right. This storm system is moving into the south side of Leeds. If you are anywhere from Buc-ee's to Barber Motorsports, over into the outlet malls, you need to get into your safe place, especially at the outlet malls right now. Please make sure that patrons are inside. Do not let your patrons outside right now to go to their cars. It is safer for them to be in the buildings, and let's ride this storm out in the safety of that site-built structure. We do not need to let them go to their cars and try to get out because this storm is coming towards you, and this storm is going to potentially be producing a tornado if it still reaches you. If you can hear me me and you work at Buc-ee's, make sure that anyone that's outside, go ahead and start getting people inside your establishment there at Buc-ee's. This is important. We need to make sure that everybody is getting to the center part of that store at this time. Likely no one really at Barber Motorsports right now. It's closed for business, but kind of generally speaking, Bass Pro Shops over there. Again, make sure patrons are inside your building right now. We don't want to make sure anyone's riding this out in their car. That would not be safe, especially over there where there's lots of trees. Again, confirmation this debris signature is still holding together here as we're tracking this debris signature. This is now making its way into Leeds. So let me look. Let's go back to our radar right now in the city of Leeds. All right, here. Okay, Severe Weather Studios, this is our view. This is I-20 looking towards Leeds. Is that correct? All right, so we're looking towards Leeds, and you can see the traffic there. Makes me wonder if there's an accident, probably attributed to the storms.
There is a backup on Leeds on I-20 by the 459 interchange due to some accidents.
Okay.
And that's, of course, is coming right toward that.
All right, and we'll try to pull up some of our DOT cameras. I think we have a few over there on that 459 area, but Dave just did confirm there is an accident on I-20 near 459, likely causing these delays and backups, and see it prevents our severe weather crew from getting there to actually monitor the storms. But let's get back to where we're seeing the likelihood of this tornado right now. So this is going to be moving towards Prescott at this time, so it looks like it'll be just to the east of Leeds. I still want everyone in Leeds, though, to still stay sheltered, okay? I want you to, at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes, because we're still noticing some areas of circulation. St. Clair, yes, so that tornado warning has been extended into St. Clair County. So let's go ahead and put our polygon on here. So this will actually stretch all the way from Wolf Creek back towards Coal City, including Pell City on the northern side of Logan Martin Lake along Interstate 20, I-20 back into Leeds, Moody, and this will be just to the south of Margaret at this point, but I still want folks in Margaret to listen closely because, again, this is kind of a quickly evolving situation that we're dealing with on this Thursday evening. The time now is 6:23. We've had some long-form weather coverage since late this afternoon as multiple thunderstorms have produced potentially multiple tornadoes on this Thursday afternoon and now moving into the evening hours. All right, let me zoom back in because where we're looking at these reds and greens on your map, this would indicate where we're seeing the likelihood of this rotation at this point. Still seeing some broad circulation over Leeds, but this is bearing off to the east now. This is going to be traveling right along Interstate 20. So again, as best as you can, stay off the roads. If you're listening to us with any of our radio partners like Talk 99.5, make sure if you're on a stretch of interstate between Leeds or Moody and, say, Pell City, you need to pull off on the side of the road and or try to get to a convenience store or a gas station if at all possible. We're starting to see the area of circulation broaden out just a little bit, but it's still very evident anywhere between Stewart's Crossroads and Pleasant Grove that we're still dealing with some intense winds for sure. Let me circle this on the map for you because this is where we would be looking for a tornado. I still want to treat this situation as if it is a tornado on the ground, and here's why. This storm has had history of producing a tornado. These storms can cycle. You hear us talking about the storm recycled or it's cycling. That means that it can kind of broaden out and then that couplet can tighten back up. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago, the tornadoes that moved through Hill County, it was one thunderstorm, but it produced a tornado that lifted and then touched back down multiple times, therefore creating 3 different separate tracks, basically. That can happen again tonight. So I want in each of these situations for us to treat it as if it is an ongoing tornado on the ground. So that's what we're looking at right there across portions. Now this is just moving east of Leeds at this point, but still some strong winds. And as we're tracking this, I want to look at our debris signature really quick to, again, kind of see where things are there. We're seeing that debris signature right over Leeds. So it just crossed right over where 119 and basically I-20 meet. And then this debris signature is still staying very really holding together on each of these scans. This is making its way towards Prescott. Now, don't focus your attention on the debris signature as to where the center of rotation is or the tornado would be. This debris indicator is showing where things have been lofted into the air and then literally spun through the atmosphere, and our radar is picking up on that debris. It's saying, hey, this is erroneous information, this shouldn't be here. And so as we look at this, we say, okay, there is definitely some debris being lofted, which would confirm the tornado, but it can also help us to understand maybe the intensity, because the higher this debris is lofted, the more debris there is in the atmosphere. That can change our color scales on our debris map. So looking at this, when we start to get into these greens and blues, we start to travel away from the rain and we start to move into what we consider debris. So larger impacts there impeding the radar beam. All right, so that's a quick look at that debris signature. It is holding together, and that's one thing that we're looking at. As that continues to hold together, I will continue to treat this as if there is a tornado on the ground. So let's go back here. Again, there's still, it's broad. It's definitely broadened out. We're not seeing necessarily the tightening of this couplet, but we're still going to be dealing with some very intense winds across most of the area now as we move into St. Clair counties. Let me show you our shear rate, because this is something that we're looking at. And again, I look for those kind of S shapes that it takes on. Now, these are kind of two different storms, but we are looking at some very strong winds. We continue to see these dark kind of maroon colors on your screen and these brighter greens. Those would all indicate these stronger winds here. Now remember, severe winds we're talking about, even though it says weak on your legend, it means the weaker end. It just is the lower end of those severe winds. They're still strong. It doesn't mean that the winds are weak. It just simply means that they are on the weaker side of our severe wind scale. So we could easily be looking at winds upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour in some of these places. And we can actually send it over to Alex. He's in our weather center right now with some new information. Alex?
I just wanted to pass along, we've got these tornado warnings, and obviously for folks in Moody, back up to Pell City, you need to be in a safe place in St. Clair County. But I want to point out as well something that may be something that's going to be impactful as we head through tonight. A flash flood warning now in effect for Jefferson County. Lots of heavy rain continues to fall across all of Jefferson County. And again, I know we had some accidents a little bit earlier on I-20 near I-459. Very possible that water on the roadway was part of that problem. So if you can avoid driving in Jefferson County or really across central Alabama this evening, that's your best bet. But I do want to point out that flash flood warning in effect for Jefferson County, almost the whole county in this polygon. That's going to go until 12:15 a.m., so right after midnight. Again, the main concern here is, of course, still the tornado warning that we have. That is now pretty much entirely into St. Clair County. The rotation, as Ashley has said, has started to fall apart with this. The original one has anyway. The debris still being picked up by radar. What we're probably seeing here is the debris falling back down after the tornado picked it up. Based on what we've got on radar, this may have at least briefly lifted, but there's still some spin here, and that's going to be approaching Pell City. So if you're watching us anywhere around Moody to Pell City, you need to be in a safe place right now as this storm continues to move on in. So Ashley, flooding threat trending up in Jefferson County, and for the city of Pell City in particular, that tornado threat starting to trend up as well.
Thanks, Alex. And to that point, I do want to actually hop over. We have a flood potential that we can look at really quickly. So I want to show you what that rain rate is. Alex was just showing you. This is why we get these flood warnings, these flash flood warnings. Where you see those purples and pinks on your screen, that would indicate where we're seeing intense rainfall at this point. And we could be talking rain rates 5 to 7 inches per hour. So 8 inches even. So that's right outside of Prescott. And that is going to cause some flash flooding issues, especially in those lower lying areas. So what does this all mean, the rain rate? Well, simply put, the rain rate is if the rain fell at the intensity that it's falling right now, and it did that for an entire hour, this is how much rain would fall in the bucket. Now, the rain won't fall at that intensity for a full hour. The rain will let up at some point because these storms are moving, of course. But that's how much rain would fall. So essentially, that's the rate at which this rain is falling from the sky. It makes driving very dangerous. It creates those flash flooding issues. And the reality of it is this rain just cannot run off fast enough. So when the rain falls from the sky at that rate of speed, it just literally can't be captured. The ground can't absorb it fast enough, and it can't run off into the gutters fast enough. So that's what causes some of the backup in the water into the streets, and you get some of those flooding, especially in those lower lying areas. And that's why it's very important to track that. So, all right, that's what we're looking at right now. I'll go ahead and clear that out for us, because the next thing that I want to show you is where we could actually be seeing a little bit of that flooding potential, as Alex was just talking about. So he was showing us our flood totals, and now I want to show you where we could be seeing a little bit of that flood potential. Some of that's right over Highway 41 near the city of Donovan, and then back into Hoover, and we did see a little bit of potential of flooding back towards Lipscomb and Bessemer. But all in all, as we mentioned before, because these are such fast-moving storms, we are not seeing as much of a flood potential right now. But look back to our west, could be dealing with a bit more of a flooding potential back towards Berry, Jasper, and Summiton. Let me do just a quick reset for us, because I want to show you on radar kind of what we're seeing area-wide. Okay, a lot of rainfall that we're contending with, and we still have another line of rain. So even though we have the tornado warning for St. Clair County right now, there's still more back behind it, but it's not necessarily creating severe storms. It's just now creating flooding potential, which is another element of this entire narrative tonight of this severe weather. So we've gotten severe thunderstorm warnings. We've had tornado warnings. Now we're dealing with flash flooding. And leading up to this, remember we kept talking about all types of severe weather were possible with this event, and I think that is clearly verified for us tonight. And unfortunately, I think that we're going to start getting more and more damage reports through the night. So definitely had visuals of funnel clouds. We've had some reports of tornadoes on the ground. But right now, here's what we're looking at. So this is a tornado warning. This does include the city of Leeds. The Leeds is just they've trimmed off the backside of this. So Leeds, you're no longer in it, but Moody, you are. Prescott, Wolf Creek, over towards Pell City. This will be the northern side of Logan Martin Lake, over into Lincoln, and then up into Emery Bend, Coal City, Coal City, and then Hardwick. So make sure that if you're in any of these locations that I just named, if you heard me call out your city, that you're going through your preparedness plan, okay? Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Stay away from windows and doors. If you have little ones at home, grab helmets. Always be sure to grab those rubbered sole, closed-toed shoes. And also, here's something else we're adding to it. Grab a whistle or a noisemaker, because in the event that there's an entrapment, even though you're safe but you can't get out, it's good to have that noisemaker so you can let people know that you're inside and you're safe and they can come get you. All right. Right now we're dealing with some very, very heavy rainfall currently from Moody over towards Hardwick, and this rain is stretching down into Pell City currently. So right along Highway 411, down from 411 to 231 into Pell City, and this is moving towards Emery Bend, and then eventually over towards Raglan, Macon, and then down into Lincoln. A lot of rainfall. So let me go back and kind of Alex and Dave, we've all kind of been talking about these rain-wrapped storms tonight. Just not a lot of clarity as far as our radar is concerned. Every once in a while, we'll see one of those textbook features like a hook echo, but that's not always the case. So we have to look at a lot of our other products that we have access to so that we can identify where these dangers are, how we can best communicate to you how to stay safe. So right now, those strongest winds are howling towards Pell City, Pleasant Valley. This is along Highway 231, and you're on the west side of Logan Martin Lake at this point. So pretty much making its way towards Logan Martin Lake from Emery Bend down towards Pleasant Valley, Pell City along 231. With the latest information, we're going to send it over to the desk right now with our anchors.
Ashley, thank you. We are getting reports and seeing now some of the damage that's out there.
Yeah, we want to go to our digital newsroom and Carly Lane. Carly, we understand that you have a number of damage reports to tell us about this evening. Let's get into that.
Yeah, that's right. Art and Sherry, we are now starting to get those reports of damage. They've been rolling into our newsroom as these storms make their way across central Alabama. First up, we've got a photo. Check this out. This is as the storm passes through Tuscaloosa. You can kind of see those clouds gathering in the sky there, creating kind of a clear line across this highway here. Again, this is in the Tuscaloosa area. We also saw reports staying there in Tuscaloosa from Northside High School, if we can pop that picture up. This is actually a scoreboard at a football field there at Northside High School. They tweeted this out as storms made their way through the Tuscaloosa area this afternoon. So you can imagine lots of strong winds causing damage in that area. We also saw a lot of lightning over Birmingham. This video capturing some of that lightning here in the Magic City area. You can see the rain blowing along the street there as wind blows, and lots of lightning and activity. I've been talking to a lot of people, and that's what I've really been hearing, is just a lot of rain and a lot of wind. We also saw an overturned truck. You can see that here on your screen. This is an 18-wheeler. This was in the Adamsville area. The Adamsville Facebook page posted this picture. They said one overturned truck near I-22 near the West Jefferson exit. They also reported another overturned truck near an industrial area there in Adamsville. And we're also hearing out of Adamsville that they are now starting to get reports of injuries. They also have several downed trees and power lines. We do have crews out in the field trying to keep up with all of this and get more pictures and videos for us. Again, if you're seeing anything in your area and you are safe, that's the big key here. Make sure you are safe. Once the storm passes, if you see anything, let us know so we can let our viewers know. But keep that safety in mind. If you're in the middle of a storm at the moment, please heed to the warnings and listen to our meteorologists. Stay in place. But once it passes, if you're starting to see anything, please let us know. You can email that to our newsroom here at CBS42.com. We'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, Carly, and remember, there is a flash flood warning for all of us until 12:15.
Indeed, and we want to keep you abreast of what's happening as our storm team meteorologists continue to track the storm. We want to go get back over to Dave Nussbaum now.
All right, Dart and Sherry, thanks so much. Yeah, again, we've seen the storms coming through. They're continuing to work their way on into Pell City, Pleasant Valley area, Coal City here. So still looking at some pretty intense winds here. This is our severe wind tracker, what we're looking at. And so we're going to continue tracking to see what we have out there with these. Let's go back over to the reflectivity here. I'll show you that storm. This is that storm working its way through St. Clair County. Still has the potential here, again, for some pretty intense winds with it still, as well as dealing with, again, heavy rain and, yes, even a tornado. So if you're watching us in Pell City, 231 area there, Interstate 20 corridor, need to be in your safe place still at this time. Now, it's not looking as impressive looking as it once did, which is good news, but nonetheless, though, we're still looking at the velocity kind of showing, again, more of a broad, as Ashley was talking about. That means a wider circulation. So it was really tight earlier. That's we had the tornado. Our debris tracker showed it as well, too, but we're not seeing quite as much of that right now. So still seeing a little bit. That's why we have the tornado warning out there. This is another velocity product looking at the wind. So gusty winds right through the Pleasant Valley to Pell City area. This is where we've been watching here to see the system. But again, looking at the as for the debris tracker here, not seeing that anymore like we did. You saw that pretty bright, the blues and the yellows. And I know our debris thing on here says rain, but really it's just some lighter debris, and the debris would get thicker. And as you get into the blues there, that's the radar picking up more intense things being lofted into the air. So if there was what you see here, this may be some of the debris kind of still lingering and working its way back down across the area. So again, at this point, that's some good news that we don't have to not seeing that tornado anymore. But nonetheless, though, kind of zooming out, that heavy rain threat, yeah, that's going to continue across the area here, and that's going to continue moving on in. Look at this, all the way back here toward the Brentwood area, Kimberly, Cunningham, Center Point, Fultondale, zooming out even more. Let me go ahead and just take you all the way out at this point and show you what's going on. Well, it kind of zoomed us all out there for the entire globe. But nonetheless, though, we are going to look at basically here this showing that right through the Birmingham area where all the lightning is, that's what we do have, again, some of the most intense right now here with some of that lightning. I'll go ahead and just kind of see if I can zoom in here as this kind of moves in, if it'll let me do it. Well, it's not going to let me do that. But nonetheless, though, still looking at some pretty intense storms kind of working the way on in toward the Birmingham area now, and they're going to continue moving on into the region. As they do, we'll have pretty much heavy rain coming, working its way on in toward our area. So there you see here across Alabama, the back edge of the line kind of working its way through Tuscaloosa, Fayette now, back over toward Coleman. We still have that tornado warning, flash flood warnings, still kind of working the way into the Birmingham area now. And as they do so, back towards Springville, some heavy rain falling for you as well. And then going back further over towards, say, Birmingham, Graysville area, back to Tuscaloosa, still some very, very heavy rain with this last band to come through. Not expected to be necessarily severe severe. Still could see some gusty winds with it, but also some very heavy rain. And so watch those streams or creeks. If you live near one, they're likely going to be running really high and potentially also dealing with, again, possibly some minor flooding issues about till midnight, 12:15. That's when the flash flood warning goes into effect. That's here for parts of Jefferson County as well, too. So, again, if you live near areas of water, just be careful. We could see some of that flooding out there. Let's go over to Alex now. A little update there for you.
I think what we now have, and this would be the first time in a while, let me make sure that we have this, but I believe we have lost our tornado warning. And if that is the case, that will be the first time in quite a while we will have not had one. Now, we did have what appears to be a significant tornado that went through Leeds. We do have one damage report. We expect more to trickle in as people sort of go out and assess the damage. But we do have one report of a tree down on a mobile home in Leeds on Cedar Avenue. And there could be entrapment there. And we've got crews heading to Leeds right now to let us know what the damage is like there. Obviously, with it being nighttime, we'll really get a good idea of how bad that damage is as we get into first morning light tomorrow. But we are in a good